That's what I'm talking about. What is going on, everybody? Welcome, everyone, as we continue with ArvCon 2023, moving into the middle portion of the day with Lord of the Rings role-playing. It is time for Shire Adventures, Expert Treasure Hunters, and I do see that we have had a donation, if I'm not mistaken, which has brought us up now to 3175. So let me make that note make that note right now. That is going to go, of course, towards the Shire Adventures crew. Very excited that we are continuing to make some serious movement forward. And again, the Shire Adventures crew is going to have a ways to go to catch up to what GOG was able to do. But I have a feeling they will make a push. I do not doubt that they will be able to make some kind of a push as we continue to jump forward. I am very happy so far with progress as we continue to make some serious money. $3,175 is, for this point in ArvCon, we're not even halfway through yet. I'm very pleased. So let's keep it up. You can do this by !donate. That will allow you to get to the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation Tiltify page, which you can see right above you, which has at the moment $31.75 raised. I think Prince Justin was the last one to donate, so thank you, Prince Justin, and thank you for everyone who has been a part of this and has really been making this the event that it has been. I want to thank also not just the players as well, but of course all the donors, but as well I want to thank the mods. Again, Triffid and Emily and Prince Justin and Arudinel and Chaotix has been here doing a bunch of stuff, and Dragon Spear and Drew has been here, and Hillness and Shadowed Mage and just like all the mods that have been here doing stuff have been doing a bunch of great things, and I'm really appreciative. Like, seriously, this event could not work without them. So a couple of notes here quickly before we get underway, which is we're going to be running this is designed to run until, as he checks the calendar quickly, this is designed to run from 4 until 7. We will probably go about 5 minutes afterwards because we are getting started a bit late because the GOG game went slightly late. So we will be doing that, but then we will move right on from there into the concert, and we will be doing the amazing Kilgore Trout. Will be starting out, and then we will have Zach Clay will be up next, and that's going to be amazing. And then we will wrap up the concert portion with Indy, and Indy will be doing his thing, finishing up stuff right around, I believe we're designed to end at around 9:30-ish, 9:30, 9:45. Then at 10 p.m., we have the last D&D of the day, and that is going to be Community D&D, where Dragon of Icespire Peak is going to be reaching its climactic conclusion, or its climactic conclusion. So we're going to be doing that going forward. So I'm very excited about that. Please make sure to support us all through those events. And then, of course, we have 2 more days, tomorrow and Monday as well. But we'll get there when we get there because we have a lot of work that we have to get to first relating to this crew. So with that, I'm going to unmute myself and apologize unreservedly to the amazing people that I interrupted by accident because I couldn't hear them. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last, I'm going to head over to reveal the amazing crew of Shire Adventures. Now, the only person we're missing here is Amal Elmatar. As you folks know, Amal is on a retreat and was not able to be a part of this. But as it happens, totally coincidentally, Coriander is grounded by her parents for having done a few things she probably shouldn't have done. So as it happens, Amal's character is not going to be played at this point. So it is up to Cal and to Granny and to Titch to carry on. I should note, by the way, that this is sponsored, as always, by Free League, which is one of our sponsors for ArvCon as well. And they have just announced that two new sets of adventure, basically a supplement book and then an adventure book, which is about Secrets of Eriador, which is going to deepen the situation once the Shire Adventures crew is finished. We'll have to talk to them about how they feel about moving on to Eriador Adventures, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Anyway, they have just announced that, so that should be pretty awesome. But now we have the amazing crew of Shire Adventures with us, and I will start to begin with, I guess, with the person who's at the top right, because that is the first person that I note, and that is, of course, Brad Bollier. Brad, it's good to see you. We just saw, we're not going to say what, we just saw some awesome stuff that is coming your way from Brad in the not too distant future, writing wise. So you folks should be ready and able and willing to grab everything Brad writes. He's an excellent writer. Brad, good to see you, my friend. I hope all is well with you. How's life in the universe with you? And are you confident that your team will be able to raise the most money that anyone has raised in ArvCon? And also, who are you playing?
I'm doing fairly well under the circumstances. As you can probably hear by this point, I have a minor cold. I feel like I'm kind of halfway through it. My wife just went through it. Didn't take too long, wasn't too bad, but it's very sinusy. So it's got me by the sinuses at the moment. You may see me grabbing tissues here and there throughout the episode. I'll try to mute my blowing of nose, but in general, feeling pretty good overall. And we are remote, so it's nice. We can have colds and still play.
Yeah, it's fine. It hasn't affected anyone.
And it is nice to see that we have Amal here in spirit in her guest form of stone on Trent's hat.
That's true. That's true. I guess that is a wolf. So yes.
So what is a hound? Something hound?
It's a hound of Mirkwood.
A hound of Mirkwood. That yes.
And I am playing Caloran Fallowhide, a budding mapmaker, an acting messenger, and a fellow who is very curious to see what it's going to be like adventuring with one Bilbo Baggins, and in fact, without a curious young hobbit who likes to find out if things want to be in different places than they currently are. So we'll see what we get up to without lavender.
Without coriander. I was gonna say you have lavender.
Yeah, we do. She's not nearly as curious and troublemaking.
That's true.
Yeah. And do I feel confident? Well, I have a strong feeling, despite my cold, that yes, we are going to come out on top during this adventuring session.
Good. That's the kind of confidence that
I'm going to power through this cold, and we are going to power through this time and raise some money for a good cause.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brad. I'm sorry about the cold, but I am pleased that you're able to still be here with us and powering through it. And moving on down the line, I am going to say hi to Tari Tunes, who is powering through at a time which is not as ungodly bad. It's not as ungodly bad for her.
And maybe powering through a bottle of mead.
Well, hey, that's good stuff.
Not yet. I first need to finish my coffee, and then I will have a cup of meat.
A cup of meat is up next. Tari, it's good to see you. I am very excited to see how things go in the game today. How are you doing? How's life and everything? And who are you playing this evening?
I'm actually doing genuinely lovely today, which is a rare occurrence thanks to crippling depression. But the boyfriend and I went to Viking Market today spontaneously in Eindhoven, which I expected to be kind of, but actually it was really, really great.
Wow.
It was like this beautiful, huge outdoor museum with like all of these historical reproduction buildings and like a big market and stuff. Wow. And it was just wonderful. And like so many things to buy, like hand woven and hand dyed linens and wools, and I was like so ready just to leave all of my money there. Because there was like this really gorgeous like mint green, well, not mint green, like somewhere halfway in between mint and grass green, I guess, hand woven diamond twill wool fabric. It's just
it's all
the heart
awesome.
Rejoices.
Yeah.
Yes, it was wonderful, and also like fantastic weather. And also I'm on new hay fever medication, so like despite everything being outside, like basically in the middle of forest, forest by Dutch standards, a forest, which is more of a park, I guess.
It's got like some scrub brush and like
no, like there's like a lot of greenery, but like like as like being German, I'm like used to like a different thing when you say forest. Like in German, like in the Netherlands, it's more like a big park that's like a half wild, I guess, sort of. So it's like with like proper pavement on the pathway so that people can cycle properly and stuff like that. Yeah, so like you don't really have that as a standard back home. But yeah, that was really, really lovely. And yeah, like I told in the green room, I'm having a little glass of meat that I got from my very, very good friend Ova for my birthday. So yeah, looking forward to trying that. And
when
yeah,
was
as I
your birthday?
also mentioned in the green room, I'm kind of sad because I'm like dressed to the nines today, and y'all can't even see like the best part, which is my new tortoise brooches, which I like did in like a little history bounding thing.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty appropriate for the setting because, you know, like a lot of like Old Norse type inspiration in Tolkien's work, obviously. I mean, obviously most of it is like Finnish and Anglo-Saxon, but you know, intersecting stuff.
Yeah.
Beowulf may be Anglo-Saxon literature, but it is about Vikings. So there. It is about the Old North. It takes place in Denmark. There. So it's appropriate. I think a lot of people would be wearing tortoise shell brooches and stuff like that. And
Amen to
apron
that.
dresses.
I think tortoise shell brooches should be
setting.
a more widely, utilized. This is kind of the way I feel about, on a lesser scale, about cloaks. That, like I said, someday cloaks will be more just generally accepted.
Well, to be fair, tortoise shell brooches are just more practical because they are literally just brooches. But like a cloak is like.
It's a thing to protect you from the weather.
Having
What
been
do
a
you
very
mean? It's
nerdy
totally
child with like no sense of shame and just running around wearing whatever I wanted in the village that I grew up in. Like, I have some experience wearing a cloak on the daily. So it's not that practical, let me tell you. It's just more practical to have a regular jacket that you can take off and just tie around your waist if you don't want to wear stuff like that.
That's fair enough. Who are you playing today?
I'm not here to play. No, I am playing Granny Lavender, Hope Singer, who is a hobbit healer, a scholar, and an I will never get this right. This is like my new thing. Like Trendane used to be failing, like pronouncing his character name and titles in the previous campaign. Now I'm always failing describing my character's job. She's a herbalist. There. Let's go with that. Maker of tinctures and salves and things. Yeah.
She's here to.
She does not have a pony, so she does have a dog, but he's not around. So he's back home with her husband. So.
What are you gonna say, Red?
She's here to smoke leaf and kick ass.
Oh, right.
She's all out of leaf.
Yeah, I'm all out of leaf. Like, let me tell you, there's nothing in here. What even is this?
Zero leaf. That's awesome. Thank you, Tari. Always a pleasure to have you on board. And, of course, the amazing and incredible, in making first appearance of 2 this weekend, Tren. It is Tren Sparks. Yes. that by the way, to hold on to that to maintain that consistency. Yeah, Tren, I know Tren is not feeling super great either, but
That's okay. That's okay. I'm delighted and honored to be here at the Klein for the what?
What? Not exactly. I'm talking, of course, about 2 Tren and Sparks. Tren, it's good to see you. How's life in the universe with you? Besides immediate physical circumstances notwithstanding, and who are you playing today?
Well, like that guy up there, I am also kind of sick, but whereas he's kind of sinusy, I'm more nauseated. Not like really heavily nauseated, but just that overall, just kind of sort of thing. And it's been finally I can move again. Not trying to hold that bit for that long, so I can mute the stream because I've been listening to you guys echo the whole time, and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I wanted to just shout out, "How did Mark want to?" No, shut up, and then I wanted to go like, "Apothecary, shut up." Yeah. So, who am I playing? I am playing Titch Applebow. He's a gate guard from Bree. And when last we left off, he was finally getting to appreciate one of the greatest aspects of hobbits, and that is eating, not eating hobbits, but eating the way hobbits
wow.
eat, which is just,
Yeah, there was a terrible session that involved a lot of hobbit death at the hands of Titch. It was really terrible. And
well, they deserved it.
We love the lighthearted tone. Really? But
I'm not leaving my post, skewer.
Yes, there has been some tremendous food options that were provided. Probably, fortunately, based on how you're feeling, Trent, it's good that happened last session, because now probably like, let me tell you about delicious food. You'd be like, yeah, I'm not really, not so much. But it is a great pleasure to have Trent with us. You're also going to see, by the way, Trent tomorrow, hopefully, assuming Trent feels better. You're going to have Trent tomorrow for our Marathon Eberron session. And I have got, and I know Trent's had got it too, I've got the shirt. The shirts are here for, I've got the Eberron shirts. And once I talk to Tari, which is going to be very soon, then we're going to get TM.
She's right there.
Well, I know, but we
we
got to adventure.
Right. You don't need to talk about me behind my back.
So the thing about Tari is that she's a really good artist, okay? But don't tell her I said that. Anyway, so she is going to be doing putting together this group shot of the crew here, and we are going to add this to the merchandising area so that I can send all of the players a shirt and start Shire Adventure stuff. And once again, we will simply mention something like, SA, the Anduinats or something. Something where we can not fall afoul of any estate. So we can't put Lord of the Rings up there, can't put Free League on there. But we could certainly put, 4 characters created by Tari. We can certainly do that, on the back of this merchandise.
Technically, the party created the characters. I just drew them.
Right, but the part that any copyright person will care about is going to be whether it breaks any estate laws or whatever. So we're going to do that. But yeah, so Trent and I will have shirts. Trent, I'm sorry, you were going to say one last thing before.
Well, I was going to say, as you mentioned it before the this thing, that to go out and spread the word and whatnot.
Yeah.
And definitely, if you guys have Twitter, go out and tweet that we are starting this right now. Yep. Then come back here, put the link to that tweet in the chat so that we can all retweet it and cross-pollinate and spread the word wider and wider.
Yes, that is an excellent idea. And in fact, now that I think of it, I should also repin the new, the one that we got. There we go. I'm going to redo this right now. I'm going to pin this, which is our Shire Adventures thing. I already tweeted this out multiple times, of course, but I am going to pin it so that people can see it. Pin it to win it. Okay.
And the GOG team did a great job, but they cheated. If I had known that there was going to be a dog cam, I would have at least arranged to have a fursuit piled up in the background.
Yeah, that dog cam, no joke. I was just listen, chaos and order and dog cam are the two things that work. So I do want to point out, though, as incentive chat, that because this is for Damon Runyon, that during the course of the adventure today, I am going to provide inspirations to the players at various times, depending on what we reach in terms of donations. So right now we're sitting at $31.75. So once we reach, I'm going to say, let us say 3,300. Once we reach 3,300, I will give each of these players an inspiration to be used as they will. These do not stack, but I will give you an inspiration to use once we reach 3,300. And of course, those will be giveaways as well. Also, another note, I would love it if we crossed over halfway to our goal today. We are at 7,100 is the goal. So I believe that means, carry the one, that we need to get past 3,550. Yes, 3,550 I think is correct. Is that right? Yes, 3,550. It is correct.
Don't ask me.
I need to
know.
Stop questioning myself. 3,550 is indeed halfway. So once we get to 3,551, we will have officially crossed the halfway point towards our goal. So let's do it. Let's make that happen. Do these T-shirts. Thank you. Do these Twitter, and also for the T-shirts. And as well, Prince Justin has just done exactly what Trent asked. So thank you, Prince
Effect
Justin.
Life.
And Effect Life. Thank you, Effect Life. So retweet these. Let's spread the word. Turnout has been very good all day today. So thank you for everyone who's been sticking around. That's great. And let's do it, people. Let's talk about what happened and what's going to happen with Shire Adventures and the rest of the crew. I'm going to fire up a little Willow in the light here. There we go. All right. And let me switch over to the map too. In our last session, the crew of the Shire here has been set on their path by Bilbo, who is accompanied this time as expert treasure hunters. Now, the reason that they've done this is because they are searching for an actual club, an actual weapon. The club of Bandabrus Took, better known as Bull Roarer Took, who invented the game of golf. So, that obviously means that we should be finding his club. And we found it based upon poring over things, including the map that was brought back by Cal and company in the session about a conspiracy most cracked. And so the party has agreed to set out and accompany Bilbo on its way. It has not been an uneventful trip here. There has been, for example, the discovery of a cart which had a wheel broken, an axle broken actually. And as it turned out, the reason this was happening is because someone had basically set it up, had set up these rocks and things like that to damage the axles on purpose. But the party unmasked his dastardly deeds and turned him in to face justice, as only the halflings can deliver it. We left behind the Game of Thrones execution scene. I'm just kidding, that didn't happen. But we handed him over to face justice. Also, it was a person known to Titch as being one of the not so great, very much a ne'er-do-well. Of the ne'er-do-wells, he was one of the more ne'er-do-wells, you know what I'm saying?
He was narrower.
He was the narrator of the duels.
It's okay.
And
He's not talking about you. It's fine.
what? Hmm?
I used to be on a puppet show, and I had a moose named Nair.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
He was
Oh
Nair.
my God.
He was not
he's
Nair.
over there on the.
Like
His
the
name was Nair
hair
Do That
removal?
Again. No, it's Nair Do That Again, because he's a Canadian moose from Scotland with a Russian accent. Anyway, never mind. Carry on.
So the party has made its way up and then made its way to Oatbarton. And Oatbarton was noted mostly, as we talked about already, for the incredible feast that they had set up, but they also gathered information from it. They found information about Kingsworthy, this abandoned structure which is about a day's travel north of Oatbarton into the North Moors. They found out about this Bull Roarer, a game called Bull Roarer's Club that seems to involve a bunch of kids beating each other up with a stick that they said was actually the club. It was definitely not the club. So there was that. And then the last note was the fact that they had heard rumors about a ghost that was haunting the abandoned Kingworthy, which, as I say, is about a day to the north of Oatbarton. And so, unless the party has something else they wanted to do, which I missed, I want to jump forward to just the, because I gather, let me actually ask, I don't think the party is going to want to cross the North Moors by night, but if I'm wrong, tell me if that's true.
Well, is there any more roast chicken?
There's a lot of roast chicken.
I ain't going anywhere.
And potatoes.
What do we know about the North Moors?
So the North Moors are noted for kind of a couple of reasons, and none of them positive. They tend to be areas that are somewhat more. First of all, they're more. Cute. I see what I unintentionally did there. So the thing about the North Moors is that they are found in the North Farthing. They are a northern borders of the Shire, basically right past the North Moors. They are known for heavy winter snowfalls and untamed wilderness. There's a lot of scrub brush and heather up there. There's an occasional tree, but there's all sorts of cautionary tales, Granny, and rumors that you've heard about the North Moors for a long time. In fact, Titch might even have heard a little bit about this in Bree, and certainly Cal and Granny would both have heard all of these rumors about only the most hardened or foolish hunters would venture this far north. You definitely want to do it before the sun sets because you can encounter wild beasts or things far worse than that. Kingsworthy, it said, was believed to have been a hunting lodge at one time, a long time ago at the time of the kings in Norbury. And so this place itself is very isolated, and the North Moors themselves are isolated also. Not a place that a lot of Shire folk would want to go, and people who want to hunt there are sort of, looked at as being a little not so good in the head based upon the way that the hobbits speak about them.
Well, to be fair, hobbits think that most people are not so good in that.
That is quite right. Right next to the word provincial is a picture of a hobbit. So yes, they are very much that way.
Salt of the land,
Emily,
Yeah, yeah.
Emily, I
Morons.
want to thank you, Emily, for that tweet. That tweet was awesome.
Oh, wait. What is this tweet? Thank you for all the tweets, everybody. What is this tweet?
Emily's tweet says, 2 sick dudes and a hotly dressed artist are playing a Hobbit game for advanced disease research, and you can go check it out now.
Oh, my God. That is tremendous. Great work, Emily.
Oh, boy.
It was your best sell. That is a lot of sell. I would 100% be like, hell, sign me up. It's a tweet about how I won't wear a cloak with you. That is not what that tweet says at all. That is a complete lie. Okay, so that's what I'd like to do is jump to the next morning, assuming the party is able to do this. I will tell the party that you will also get a nice morning meal. We're talking an omelet. You think, Titch, there may be some leftover roast chicken. You don't know how there could be any leftover roast chicken, but somehow there is. That's in the omelet that was used for this. So, like, you know,
it's all chicken, really.
In it?
Yeah, it's all chicken, really. I mean,
eggs
are the
kosher, is it?
Eggs are the most socially acceptable way to eat children.
It's a little troubling.
It's
maybe,
children.
But, you know,
No, eggs are not children. Eggs are periods.
I'm just gonna go on from there. And moving swiftly on. So,
Amal would have thought that was hilarious.
I know.
I did too,
So,
but I
like-
didn't want to.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm
encourage
like, we don't want to go engage that joke. So,
Our turn on the echo machine and do a
period
little
jokes.
laugh for
Right.
Amal.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
Not
what
very
she
Amal
sounds.
like, but okay. There we go.
the woo hoo hoo part was Mel.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
gonna see this and be like, what the what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Okay. So anyway, the North Moors, again, unless I'm missing something, I'm not pushing anyone when I shouldn't be? Are people ready to head across the moors?
Ready to go.
Okay. So given that is the
definitively.
case, now I want to ask the sort of path that you're taking, the rough path, from what you understand, that Bilbo also suggests you take, has you going up this pathway here, where the red dotted line is basically sort of, it's the most direct route to where Kingsworthy is. There is an argument to be made that you could head basically up to this portion of this little stream / river, which then makes its way up to Kingsworthy, basically following the course of the water over there. You could do that, but it would take you out of the way. And if you want to cross this, you should, if all goes well, be able to get there before the sun sets, the next day, which is, presumably where you want to go. But I'm just letting you know that this is this is the direct across land approach.
And I think Bilbo is not wanting to advertise exactly what we're looking for, but isn't worried about people knowing where we are and that sort of thing. So, so Cal is good with going along the direct path.
Okay. Let's see.
Wait, does any of us have experience traveling up here? I'm assuming that's too far north for Granny to regularly come here.
The only one I can think of, maybe, and Cal would have to tell me if this is true. Titch would not have come this far north. The only one I can imagine would have been maybe Cal, if Cal was doing it for his map making, and I don't know if you would or not, Cal.
Well, or I mean, my main job is a messenger. So if something job had
there's nothing up here to message though. I thought of that, but there's no one up here you would deliver.
Yeah,
messages to,
I would probably say no then.
Okay.
So then
I've got a message here for an ooh.
Yeah, right. He's back.
Oh.
God damn it. All right, so you make your way across along this sort of rough and ready path, and for, I would say, the first portion of the day, the sun is bright around you. The dew, which is glinting in the morning in the grass, slowly, slowly evaporates away. But it's a very pretty and sort of green day in the North Farthing. And as you make your way along, I would say you're probably in a fairly, good mood, a kind of good condition, etc. And so you make good progress across the North Farthing. And then right about, I would say, probably past midday, somewhere on the order of maybe 2 in the afternoon-ish or something like that, right around here, and I will move your party token, that way Tari doesn't yell at me, the party token right here, you can see over one of the hills, and I should have asked the order. Bilbo, of course, is sort of whistling and swinging his staff and looking for all the world like he might have looked like 50 years ago, very happy.
Yeah.
Cal and Granny and Titch, I guess I'm wondering, there's plenty of room.
No.
You could all go abreast, next to each other, or you could go in single file. How are you organizing yourselves to go?
Cal is a fast walker for a hobbit.
Okay.
And so he's probably ahead of the party.
Okay. Granny and Titch.
Granny's just like basically, sticking with people. Like, she's not about wandering off on her own.
Okay. Titch?
Titch will be bringing up the rear because he can protect the back, and if there's something to be attacked in front, he's going that way anyway. So he'll get there.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's why in the military, the medic is usually towards the back of the group, because if anybody gets hurt, he's on his way that direction.
That's true. All right, what happened?
And also, less chance of getting hit by, first line fire.
Slightly less chance.
Slightly less chance. What are the, travel mechanics in this system? Does it still work like in adventures?
It usually, yes, if you do a longer journey, but this does not qualify as one, especially because you're technically still in civilized lands. But there are journey rules
course,
that
this is a Shire. No place.
Yeah, no, not gonna happen. Well, but I was about to say though, that as you travel along, as I say, around 2 in the afternoon or so, I would say probably, Cal, you'd be the first to notice this. There is a sort of a gentle rise in front of you as you're kind of in the lands here, as I say, are kind of slightly rolling. There's no heavy mountains or very tall mountains or hills or anything, but slightly rolling hills. Although if you continue in this path, if you went just kept going as far north as you could, eventually you'd reach the hills of Evendim, and then you'd, more up into the mountains from there. But down here, it's mostly just sort of rolling plains and things like that. But there is a slight rise of a hill above you, and it's about 2 in the afternoon. The sun is kind of vanished somewhat behind clouds now, and so it's a little cooler and definitely a little less bright. And from one side of the hill, you can see a wisp of smoke from the other side. Maybe the smoke of a campfire, Cal.
Okay. It would be kind of amusing, just as a side note, everything from the previous set of adventures to this one is sort of scaled back in terms of danger and level of task and that kind of thing. If shadow points were the same way, we might see a crow sitting in a tree, and it might give us a shadow point because it freaks us out a little bit,
Yes. Yeah, shadow points may eventually arrive, but you haven't been in a position to do that yet. But yeah, I should point out, by the way, just quick note, if Granny had actually, I'm only going to mention this one thing because it's interesting mechanically, if Granny had actually managed to hit the owl and to basically drive the owl out, that would have given the party a shadow point, because the act of doing that would have angered the animals of the Shire. So it's interesting that it turned out not working out. Yeah, just saying to give you a sense of it. Sorry, Brad.
If what had happened? Sorry.
If she had
the owl in the barn.
Yeah, the owl in the barn. If she had hit it with the pebbles, you remember she was trying to hit it, so that would have been a shadow.
I was like, hey, there's a stupid bird there where it shouldn't belong, so just need to shoo it away. It was throwing pebbles in the direction.
Exactly.
That
Shadow
usually
point.
works.
Yeah.
All right.
That would mean that Granny would have already had a shit ton of shadow points.
Well,
Just
listen,
Eventually the counter rolls around and resets.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it resets.
Go back to level 1.
That's
good. Go ahead, Brett.
Cal's going to take it seriously. Based on the smoke column, does it look like it's over the next hill or 5 miles away?
No, not 5 miles away. You think it may be over the next hill.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just turn back to the group and say, just stay here for 1 second. I'm just gonna check this out, and then I'm gonna go and check it out. But I'm gonna be low and subtle about it.
Okay. So
where'd you go?
I'm going to have you. I'd like to have you make a stealth check for me, please. Let's see.
Good thing I'm not playing a dwarf. This would be exactly the right moment to say, nothing, there's a wisp of cloud.
Crows from Dunland. A crowbane from Dunland. Okay.
Aha.
Where's my dice roller? I appear to have misplaced my dice roller. Just 1 second.
I'll take the 20.
Let's see.
Oh, damn!
Yes, good call, and a great way to start this out, sir.
That is. Whoa.
There we
better
go.
Be an omen.
Wow.
Yeah, you things to come.
So Cal just vanishes from sight.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So you actually, that is a very good way to start. You move completely silently and kind of sneak your way over to the top of the hill. And as you look down, you can see there is a what looks like probably a man seated on the ground, probably crouching on the ground, and seems to be cooking a something. Might be conies, like a pair of rabbits of some kind, you think, on a spit. And is sort of, crouched away from you. You can see he has kind of a cloak on the ground. You can see he's got a pack as well. But you're pretty sure he also has what looks like possibly a sword and scabbard right next to him at his feet.
And man, not hobbit, right?
Man, yes. At least man-sized, for sure.
Is there a panther nearby? No, never.
Much love, my
just
friend. No,
one, just one sword, he said, not two.
That's right. There is no one sword and no panther.
Is he? I'm gonna try to get a sense of size, even though I'm far away. Like taller than Titch, and by how much?
Yes, he does look taller than Titch. He's crouched, so you can't really get a sense of how tall. But he just from the look of him, he probably is taller than Titch. Yes. I'm
gonna look for mounts, potentially other people, signs of other people, multiple bedrolls, that kind of thing.
I'll be able to give you some of that, but let me tell you, have you do a perception check just to see how much of it you can see. Let's see. So we're still looking at it. Is that a 19 that I see?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not see that. In fact, you don't see a lot about this campfire other than, the person himself and the things that he's cooking. There's not a lot of extra stuff scattered about. You don't see any like horse or any kind of, riding animal of any sort there. So there's a lot that you see that's like, it seems very spare, I guess is what I would say for a campfire. And also because it's at the bottom of this hill, not a very big hill, but there's not a lot of places around. I mean, maybe on the rise of the other hill there's other people, but it looks like it's just this one, if you had to guess.
And no other equipment of any sort that I can see?
Other than a couple of battered cooking pans, perhaps.
Okay. All right. I will sneak back to the group and apprise them as to the situation, who I found, what he has.
He probably had a horse. He's just been out here for a long time, and those conies are the last two pieces of the horse that he's had to eat to keep himself alive.
Did he fashion ears out of them?
I was gonna say, like, Anywho, so
well, he's a tall-looking fellow, and I have the suspicion that he could be dangerous if we don't approach him in the right way. Or we could avoid him altogether, I suppose. He's how far away is that campfire from the road?
Well, the campfire, I mean, technically you would run right through it or close to it, but there's plenty of room on either side that you could give it a wide berth.
We could squirt around if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna just ask Bilbo. Do you know of any men? He seems fairly tall. Maybe not a man of Bree. Do you know any that come through this area?
A man of Bree? Taller than a man of Bree? Well, there's not anyone like that except, well, there's some of the... And then he kind of trails off and he's like, well, I haven't actually met these ones directly, but I have heard stories of them. You know of the Rangers of the North, don't you?
Well, I've heard of them, of course, but never met one, never seen one.
They are, at least were at one point. Dunedain is their other term. Members of the great departed race of men. Now diminished, but still very powerful. There are some who doubt the Rangers and think that they are dangerous, but those, of course, are the same sort of fools who would, let us say, keep a map wrongfully for its rightful owner. He kind of nods at all of you. These are people who don't have an understanding of the right vision, the way to look at things. The Rangers, I think, have done a lot of good. perhaps more good keeping the Shire protected. For all that my people are suspicious, we spend too much time, hobbits, worrying about the affairs of others, or at least worrying that others are strange. Just because we don't know them doesn't mean that they are not helping us in some way. That is what I believe about the Rangers. Anyway, if this man you saw is one of them, well, then he's probably a good person. Or he could be a dangerous man, one of the southern men who is trying to come up and gotten stuck here and might attempt to attack us. One of the two.
Either or.
Has Granny ever run into or seen any of the Rangers by like being out and about foraging for herbs and stuff?
Only in the distance and from like a sort of out of the corner of the eye sort of thing, Granny. You've definitely seen on occasion like someone in a cloak like vanishing out of the way or stuff like that. But you've never had a situation where you've actually met one face to face who was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like that. That has never happened.
Has Bolo mentioned the roasted bunnies?
Who knows?
Bolo's not here.
But not Bolo. Oh my god! This is,
Suddenly parachuting in, hey, with flanks here.
Caloran. Has Caloran
Flying.
mentioned any
Dueling Coney meals.
the roasted bunnies?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Has
I was too busy joking.
Caloran relayed that he also saw like
Yeah.
the roasted bunnies?
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah, I
well,
described
he
the whole-
seems to have
the whole
roasted
camp and everything.
bunnies, so I could go for a snack. So
I
I mean, we have
thinking
4 to
whether
1.
coming-
What is he gonna do against us? So
Well, I mean,
Well,
if
maybe-
he wanted to be, secretive, there are better places to set up camp if he wanted to ambush people.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, why don't we all come to the hill and at least take a look, and Bilbo could tell us if he looks like a Dunedain.
I should also point out that almost certainly Titch has encountered one or two of them in Bree. People in Bree are just as suspicious of them as people in the Shire, probably, but they definitely have stopped by at the end of the Prancing Pony and elsewhere before. So you're still of the opinion that Bolo's improvised flower attack was one of the best moments in that campaign? Yes, that was a great moment for sure. Flower power. Okay, so when you make your way to the top of the hill, Bilbo sort of looks down and down the hill and kind of peers, and he says, "Well, I don't know. He's just a man with a cloak. Could well be that he's a traveler. Looks rather tall. I can't see how tall, but rather tall. I don't know him myself, but could be. What do you think?" And he looks over at you, Titch. All of you men of Bree, you've seen some of these rangers before. Is that you peering at Bilbo or at the
no, at the guy down in the top.
Okay, right. Bilbo's like,
I dare you to say that again.
How dare you?
What? You're already on my list for making me get involved in crime.
Did you hear about
Tubby.
the baker became a knight? He was the flower of chivalry. Nice work, Prince Justin. Well done. I appreciate all of that. Well done. Top marks. So as you look down, make a perception check for me.
That's what I
Titch.
was waiting for. Thank you. I thought it was going to be a 2.
Yeah.
18.
18. No, I think that's a pretty good. So a couple things you note. First of all, Cloak is very weather worn, travel stained. This person who's obviously got a lot of miles under their boots. This is not someone that you personally recognize, you don't think, although there is something about maybe the hair or something. They might be familiar, but one of the things is, but the hood is up, so it makes it a little bit difficult. But you see like little wisps of hair just sort of out of the side a bit. There's something also about the scabbard that's sort of lying on the ground that you feel like you might have seen before, but you don't fully remember. But it could be a ranger. It's possible.
He has a certain je ne sais, I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
Well, we should probably go down and just give the man a hail and take stock of him.
A hail of arrows?
Slow down, Titch.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Different kind of
Hail
stock
good
taking.
fellow.
than
Right,
happened,
yeah.
Okay, so if you all agree to that, then you can make your way down the hill. Now, how far away are you? Like, kind of coming up and then, hi, like one of those deals.
No, I imagine that
we're all suddenly
probably
sitting around the campfire with plates out.
well, with the natural 20 you got before, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine that we're all kind of lined up doing the scene from The Wiz, where we're all like, we got to ease on down.
Yeah, exactly.
Skipping down the thing.
Right. I mean, how much are you making your presence felt? I guess that's the way I want to be clear.
Not care about making noise along the way, and then when we get within
conversation,
100 paces or so, 70 paces, we'll hail the fellow and say, "Well met, good traveler."
With arrows? Just to be clear.
And he turns, so his head kind of turns when you say that, and he says, "Well met indeed. It's not a hospitable place for most travelers to come.
Black Tom! No.
But if you're hungry, there's room around the fire for others." He turns back.
Thank you. We don't mind if we do. We could use a bit of food. And we have some of our own as well.
I didn't say anything about food. I said there was room around the fire.
Exactly. No.
You can share the warmth. That's as far as it goes.
So you sort of go down to the fire. When you get there,
I assume we stocked up a bit in Oak Barton.
Mm-hmm.
And have some food. So we'll share a bit. I will anyway.
Okay. And it's past midday anyway, so it's beyond we're up to second lunch, so to speak. So you kind of gather around, and you can see that as this man is tending the fire, you can see as you're sort of close to him, again, he's still crouched down, that he must be, he does look pretty tall. He has pretty long legs from what you can tell. And he's sort of looking at it, and you can see a little bit of his face, although much of it is shadowed by the cloak. And what you see most reflected in the fire are these glittering eyes, these very intense glittering eyes that sort of look at everything and kind of are keen and searching. And after you've all sat there for a moment, kind of like around the fire, and he says, "All right, let me carve this up and serve a little bit of it. I don't know how far 2 rabbits will go, but we'll do the best we can." As Anonymous donates $5. It is funny to think that all of a sudden someone goes, "Ta-da!" which is the sound that I have from my alert. Thank you for the $5 donation to the Anonymous donator. That brings us up to $31.80. A reminder, chat, that when we get up to 3,300, we will have inspirations for our players. That's only 120 away. And when we get to I believe it is 3551, that will be over halfway towards our goal, which is $7,100 for the weekend. So please do donate, ! Donate to our Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation charity. It is a very good cause, a very good charity, which I think you can feel proud to be a part of. So,
if it helps, you can also you can pretend that those numbers are letters, in which case it spells IBOO.
IBOO. So he's sort of like, as he's doing things, you notice that there's a kind of grace about everything he does. He seems to move very smoothly, but it's not like the grace of an elf, which few of you have seen. I would imagine Granny has certainly seen, and obviously Titch once in a while. It's not the grace of an elf. It's the grace of someone who has been at the business of being on his own for a long time, who has been at the business of taking care of himself, of camping, of, surviving in the wilderness for a long time. And so everything he does...
Economy of movement.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yes, economy of movement. Everything he does is very efficient and seems to the purpose, I guess would be the way to describe it, as he expertly, removes the conies from the spit and carves them and, dishes out the food. And the food is actually, the conies are very nicely roasted, just about the right time. So
Granny would get out from her herbs and stuff, some rosemary and stuff like that, for some seasoning, and also grab some other foodstuffs that might go with the rabbits.
And he says
some taters. That she roasts.
It'll take a little while to cook those, but yeah.
Well, no, not really. It depends on how you prepare them. If you make diced pan-fried potatoes, those go pretty quick.
Or if you put them, they could be ash baked. Put them.
Yeah, but
underneath
that
the
takes forever.
That takes a while. So he, as you're sort of putting some of these herbs on, and you kind of sprinkle some of them on, he kind of nods, and he says, "Then it appears you are an herb master, Madam Halfling."
Well, I've seen a few herbs in my time. Yes. No, Tren. No.
I just imagine Granny going, "It's an apothecary, Sonny." And
She would say that if I could pronounce that. But why did I choose this profession for her? So yeah, I've seen a few herbs in my life. Yes. Well, she stirs the potatoes.
Have you noticed that there have been fewer, it seems, of some of the herbs, the more common ones, lately around the bounds of the Shire? Not as easy, perhaps, as 10 years ago to find some of what we need.
Would Granny have noticed?
I would think so. Not in any kind of oh my god, I can't find any of it, but you have to go a little further afield to find herbs that used to be more readily available.
Well, kind of thought this was like maybe due to the deer population or whatever getting out of control and eating all of them, but you think there's something more sinister going on? While she stirs up the potatoes and then looks up, raises an eyebrow when she says sinister.
And you can see he kind of, there's a little bit of a smile. You catch a flash of a smile of teeth below his cloak, and he says, "Perhaps. I'm afraid it's in my nature to suspect things greater than what they are. Perhaps it is just the deer, as you say."
Perhaps.
He does a bit more
she keeps stirring. Well, occasionally stirring. For the most part, pan-fried potatoes need to just sit there.
He does a bit more of that, and then he says, "Strange, in a way, if I may say so, to see a group of companions up this far north. Is there anywhere in particular the four of you are traveling?" And Bilbo says, "Oh, absolutely. We have a destination in mind, don't we?" He kind of looks back at the three of you.
Cal just nods. We do indeed, but doesn't say anything more.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Bilbo wants to
Tid's
say.
just sort of standing there, last time the mission was super secret, so he's not saying anything anymore.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's not so much about the destination itself. It's more that we're doing a bit of a camping round trip, you've probably heard that our people are a bit about the comfort zone, so to speak. And, we're trying to treat new paths,
And
as they say.
And he says,
It's lovely weather, lovely springtime.
And he says, "It's true, but if I may say, I have not heard of hobbits generally making new paths for themselves if they can avoid it. Paths tend to be, well-worn ones. So
Exactly.
to find scouts like yourselves, that's most unusual here in the highest of the North Moors."
Well, we are not out on official scouting business.
Cal
Really more for family
breaks out,
trips.
Cal breaks out his a few maps that I've made along the way and my calligraphy set and stuff. And I say, well, just speaking for me personally, I was kind of interested to come up here just to get a look at the land. I'm a bit of a map maker, and I wanted to see it for myself instead of looking at it on somebody else's map. Make a map of my own, you see.
And he kind of bends over and looks at it, and he sort of, his glittering eyes kind of search the map, and he says, "This is good work. You've been making maps for some time, I can see."
I have indeed. I have a ways to go in the craft, but yes, I enjoy it.
I wonder if any of the places here, and he kind of points at a couple of spots that you have in the map that are sort of unfinished, and he
Right.
says, "It's your intention someday to go there, to fill in these spaces?"
Yes, if I can. Here, there, everywhere.
And
At some point.
he nods slowly, and he says, "I see."
Did he point to specific spots on the map out of curiosity? Or was it
Well-
kind of waving, over here, over there?
Yeah, I would say more that. I mean, but he was definitely
Okay.
spots that were not as finished, in the maps
Sure.
that were there.
Okay.
And he says, "The danger of making maps, of course, is that features can change. roads can be flooded under and trees can be cut down and new things can grow in their midst. Keeping the maps up to date is difficult.
That's why it's important to take new stock of the situation, make new maps so people know.
He nods and he says, and here he points at like the part of the map that I assume you marked Kingsworthy on this map, Cal, as like sort of the this is where we're going thing. I mean,
to whom and be concerned, this is where we're
well,
headed.
well, like I mean, not like that.
Red ink with like arrows pointing
arrows,
to it.
Here, like circles, spiraled, underlined.
I'll
like a bunch of skulls drawn to it and like a crude picture of like a club,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A hole and
a hobbit roaring at it, like thank you.
And a picture of a bull.
Suddenly you have a movie trailer. We know everything that's happening. So sorry, you said
it'll be kind of rough, but it'll be clear that this is like an initial map that I'm using to like refine. The
Gotcha.
subsequent map will be better, more accurate kind of thing. So yeah, I'd have it on there.
Well, if you continue to head on the path that you're going, after another 2-3 hours perhaps, you'll reach Kingsworthy. It's at the edge of your map here, and he kind of points at the spot, the kind of rough spot that you were talking about. And he says, who knows at that point what's to be found? Kingsworthy is an interesting place. And thank you to Kooky Canuck for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. Welcome, Kooky Canuck. And everybody, I have not been talking at all about my channel stuff this weekend, but you can find all the information you need about supporting the channel. But the biggest thing I'm doing today is talking, and tomorrow and the next day and yesterday, is about Damon Runyon. So please send your hard-earned dollars towards Damon Runyon, ! Donate. As we move forward, again, we will get inspirations for our players when we reach 3,300. And once we pass 3,550, we'll be past halfway through our goal. So please continue to support and spread the word.
We will also not just take hard-earned dollars, but some that you came by fairly easily.
Yeah. If you stole a bunch of stuff, like whatever,
not any ill-gotten gains. I mean, even though we could be using it to a good purpose.
Yeah, so only legally obtained, but easily legally obtained dollars are just as acceptable as hard-earned dollars.
Right.
So he says, but thank you, Kooky Connects. Good to see you. So he says, kind of looking up there, and he says, Kingsworthy is an interesting place. You'll need to take care if you go by there.
Cal says, do you know any stories about Kingsworthy? I along with map making, I like collecting stories about the places that I visit, and if you know anything, I'd be interested to hear it. The map is not the territory, and the territory is not the history either.
And he nods and he says, well, that's well said. Well said, I would say. There are indeed places to be found and things to be found inside Kingsworthy. But the truth is that most of those tales probably are made up. I can't imagine that anything really haunts those walls there. Perhaps some memories, but not anything real. And he stands up, and for the first time, Cal, you're like, oh, yeah. He's like 6'8". He is very tall. And when he stands up and kind of extends himself to his full height, you immediately get this sense, all of you, that you're looking at something different. All of a sudden, the kind of travel-stained, worn cloak seems to flow more, I don't know, as if it was more a part of his person rather than being a part of the ground. And he himself takes a little bit of a more sort of stands up more straight and adopts a certain kind of posture that you hadn't seen before. And he says, it's said that Kingsworthy itself was one of the places of the kings. Perhaps there would have been something back then. Arnor, the land of the High King, might itself have hid secrets like this. And if there ever was anything in Kingsworthy of value, I have often wondered what it had been like to see it in its glory. There are those who talk of castles and palaces, but I always wonder what the homes of the people in those times looked like too. They're shadows and memories now, but once they were part of a great kingdom. And he brushes his hood back, and for the first time you can see he has this kind of dirty brown hair kind of running from, over his scalp just a little bit, just down a little bit to the shoulders, maybe right above. And he has kind of a grizzled goatee, but it's impossible to determine his age. He could be 30 or 130. He's something ageless about him. And but his face itself almost looks a bit like out of kind of chiseled stone, as if it is as worn as the cloak that he wore. And he kind of looks off into the distance and says, "Yes, if you go there, you must be careful, friends. You wouldn't want to run into the memories of the kings. They ought to be left where they are."
Do we know that Kingsworthy is like an estate, like a mansion type of?
You remember the stories
castle?
that you heard about it from Oatbarton is that it was more like a hunting lodge, probably. Like
right.
maybe like a summer palace, but more likely like a hunting lodge of some kind. But it is true that you heard this in Oatbarton, that a few years back there was a hunter who dug up not far away the life-size head of a marble statue that represented what resembled a young prince wearing a crown. And that lends credence to the idea that this was, in fact, a place that one of the kings might have used in the summers.
Okay.
And Bilbo says, "Well, memories themselves may be problematic, friend, but it's always good to be able to come to grips with one's own feelings on the matter. Have you traveled around there? Do you know the place yourself?" And the man sort of looks back, and his glittering eyes kind of seek out Bilbo's, and he says, "I have seen many places before. I don't know whether I could call any of them familiarity, as much as just passing through. But I've done so many times, I suppose it's fair to say." And then he says, "Have you, in your scouting that you talked about, have you done much of this travel? Do you want to do more of it? Are we going to see you wandering the North Moors again?"
He's asking me,
That seems to be the whole group.
out of everybody.
Now that he's thrown his hood back, do I have any better sense of having seen him before?
You think so, Titch. You think this is a man who is has these great long legs that he is well known for, and that is known for, and he's known for going about at a great pace around debris. What his right name is, you've never rightly heard, but you're pretty sure they call him Strider.
Well, that's just silly. No one would ever call themselves that. Okay.
So Cal says, "Well, I guess we'll have to see. We wanted to see it once, and if we like it enough, or there's something we left unexplored, maybe we'll come back. We're not sure yet."
Well, it seems fair. If you leave a place explored, then you've done some good for your own knowledge. Is there anything in particular other than scouting you're seeking at Kingsworthy? There's not much there to be found, other than those memories I mentioned.
Cal tries to catch Bilbo's eye just to see what he's thinking.
Bilbo looks thoughtful. He's looking at this man, if it is Strider's face, and he looks thoughtful, but he hasn't said anything yet. And side note to the history buffs who are kind of like, wait, why wouldn't they? I'd ask you to note the time that we're talking about. This is before Bilbo has left.
Like 1:30 in the afternoon. Yeah. It's...
Yeah. In the time of the Shire.
Well, Cal's getting a sense that he can trust this guy, so he's gonna say, "Well, I mentioned history. We are a bit curious about some of the more famous hobbits who have said to be in the area from time to time, and one of the more famous, you may know him, is Bulwer Took."
And he gives a slight smile and he says, "Yes, one of the Hobbit's greatest heroes, I believe. He was quite something with a club, at least so the stories say. Are you seeking him out?" or rather, what is left of his person. You're seeking memories, stories of him then.
There's stories, legends. We're trying to fill in details. We have some of his blood in us, and it makes us curious.
Well, not me. I'm.
Of course. Titch, our friend, doesn't, but he's a curious sort as well.
And Strider looks back at you, Titch, and is like, you're a long way from your post at Bree, my friend.
I am, yeah. I was asked to come out here and do some investigations before, and then to come out and hopefully right some somewhat wrongs of reporting after that, and then sort of got swept up in this. And I do seem to remember seeing you around Bree on occasion, Mr. Schroeder, isn't it?
And he smiles and he says, around Bree, I am known as Strider. But
that makes more sense. I'm terrible with names. I apologize.
It's all right.
Titch Applebow.
And he sort of reaches out his hand. Yeah, well, he's not that from his 15-foot height. No, he reaches out and shakes your hand. One thing to note, by the way, Titch, when you shake his hand, is that he, it's obviously
has rabbit fat on it.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, good strong grip, obviously, as you might expect, but his skin is more weathered than you would expect. Just, again, like if you just look at him, you're like, I don't know, he could be 40, 90, 32. Again, hard to tell his age. But when you shake his hand, the skin just feels like, almost like granite, like it's been again worn down by the years. But that seems unlikely unless someone's been out here for a very long time. And when he lets go of your hand, he says, well, certainly the people of Bree need guards, and the people of the Shire do as well. If you're with them, that indicates that you're working together towards a common purpose, and that's always a good day these days, a good thing these days of doubt. And he looks sort of to Cal and to Granny. He looks at you, Granny, and he says, and you, Herb Master, or
you youngster, you.
Exactly. Yeah. You young buck. No. Yeah, you, Herb Master. It seems as if you have spent your time traveling around these places longer than most in your party. Is that fair?
Well, yes. By the way, you do not have to call me Herb Master. You can just call me Granny if that's fine. But
he nods.
yeah,
and says,
but I'm not
Granny.
Particularly far traveled, I have to say. Usually I just stick to my neck of the woods, to speak. Certainly I've not been this far north before.
And he nods and he says, well, it's good that you've decided to travel a bit further, and I'm glad to hear that you know your own place well. Perhaps if we all knew our own places better, we might get into less trouble when we go into others. And he looks over at Cal and he says, and as for the map maker, and I can see, as he kind of looks down and points at some of your accoutrements, like, the walking stick and all that, and he says, I imagine that you are what the hobbits call a messenger. You travel from place to place, yes?
I am indeed, and proud of it. I enjoy it.
He says, when the maps are written and drawn, do you think they reflect reality, or do they reflect the will of those making them? He asked the question as if he had asked, like, hey, do you think it's going to rain?
Right. Well, I think maps can only go so far. But they do reflect what people have made, what hobbits and man have made, what dwarves have made. And in that respect, they are showing a facet of those people. And that fascinates me.
And he says, that's good. In a way, what matters the most is where the people travel and what they find from it. And he sighs and he says, I spend more of my time around territories than people these days, but Sometimes a man does long for something other than his own voice to talk to. And he kind of looks back down at the fire. Thank you for the follow, Milo. He looks back down at the fire and he says, well, this food is about done, the fire is about out. I should probably be on my way, and if you wish to reach Kingsworthy before nightfall, you probably will want to do that too. We haven't reached the high days of summer yet. The sun will go down faster than you think. He kind of turns and starts gathering up, over the camp, which he does with his usual efficiency, which there isn't a whole lot left, so there's not much to cover over, basically.
Were we sort of chowing down while we were doing this?
I assumed, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I assumed.
Granny would have also made some nice mint tea in the spare pot that we now have.
Okay.
So.
And where are you off to once you leave this place? Hal says.
He says, lands unknown. I'm bound for further north into the North Moor, beyond the North Moors. I have some business up beyond, but I will make my way back around. I'm usually back and forth over these moors several times a year, so I don't know if our paths will cross, but perhaps.
I hope you'll take some notes about what's where, and if our paths do cross, that would be a good day, and I'd love to compare notes at that point.
And he says, perhaps so. I suppose by the time we return, I'll have more landmarks for you to put on your maps, you could say.
Wonderful. Well, farewell.
And he nods and stands and picks up his scabbard, which is also quite a long sword in that scabbard, probably. Buckles it on, takes his cloak, grabs his pretty small, rucksack, so to speak, pours a little bit of his water over the fire, and then quickly stamps out the rest. Then you all think he might whisper something near the fire, but maybe you're just imagining it. But either way, the smoke then is just, kind of vanishes quickly. And
Granny just goes, "Oi!" as he puts out the fire.
Oh, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Were you planning on using it?"
Yes.
Well, it's dangerous to leave a campfire unattended, even if I'm not leaving it fully unattended by anyone. But my apologies. You should be able to get it running again if you need to. But I don't like leaving anything behind, I suppose. Even signs of me. And he kind of nods at all of you solemnly, and then he says, may your paths be forward, and your feet be light. And he raises a weathered hand, and then turns and puts his hood over his head, and then starts walking and goes fast. He eats up lots of ground between each one of those strides.
Those legs he does.
Yep. And before too long, he's actually over the rise of the hill and disappeared. Before we go on, this is a good time to reset for just a moment and welcome everybody to Day 3 of ArvCon. You're watching Lord of the Rings role-playing, Shire Adventures, Expert Treasure Hunters. I'm joined by said Expert Treasure Hunters of Brad Bollier and of Tari Toons and of Trent Sparks. And if you like what you have seen, may I ask you all, if you're like, this is amazing and I'm so inspired by everything, may I ask you to turn that inspiration to good use by putting it into donations for Damon Runyon. ! Donate will allow you to donate to Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. Our goal is $7,100. If we can get another $120, we'll be at $3,300, which will give inspirations to the players. And once we get to $31,551, yes, then we will have officially gotten past halfway for our goal. So I'd like to see either one of those goals or both met and surpassed today. And thank you all for being here. We will be running for another, I guess it's hour and
a half?
Yeah, basically an hour and a half.
Clock.
That's right. Yep, hour and a half. That's right. And we can take a break to the players. We can take a break in about 10 minutes-ish or so for about 5 minutes if you need a bio break, etc. and then conclude. Or we don't have to, but I'm just letting you folks know. Go ahead, Trent.
I would also say that you said that, if you've enjoyed the thing, to go ahead and donate. I would say that even if you haven't enjoyed it, donate anyway. Cancer sucks.
That's a good point. Yes. If you want to hate...
Especially if you don't enjoy cancer, then you should.
Well, that,
donate.
yes. If you want to hate donate, I guess is what we're saying. Feel free to hate donate.
I mean, if you want to demonstrate your hatred of our roleplay ability, by all means, speak with your dollars.
These people don't know what they're doing. $500 to Damon Runyon, these bastards.
That'll show us.
This is how you actually play a hobbit to the tune of $1,000. Suck it. Yeah, that's the kind of that's the kind of donating rage that we want in the channel.
Precisely.
Okay, so moving back to the adventure. Again, I assume that you don't stay around there too long, but once he's left. But you can tell me if there's anything else you want to do here at the campfire before we...
I mean, I don't see why he couldn't have stuck with us. But we're all going north. It's not like he couldn't have walked with us for a while.
Maybe he just doesn't like us.
I don't think we would keep up, to be honest with you, Bilbo
But he
says.
could walk slower.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems to me like that man has one speed. Is on or
Look how
off.
tall he is. Like, easily the three of us fit on on his shoulder and back. I'm sure Titch can keep up.
I mean, they don't call him Striper for no reason, I'm sure.
Packagorn.
Mm.
Well, it's not Aragorn. Aragorn isn't born yet for another 15 years. I looked it up. I was like, wait a second, we are like really early in the timeline.
There's this look on Arb's face of what?
Wait a minute.
Oh, there it is.
No, that's not accurate.
Wait, okay, so we are in the year
That's why-
1316 Shire Reckoning, right?
Uh,
And Aragorn is born in the year 13 and 31 Shire Reckoning.
Something's not working with that, though, because this is also set after Battle of Five Armies. So...
Yeah, isn't there only like 17 years between Five Armies and like the start of Lord of the Rings?
1360. We are in 1360, not 16. Why do I have 16
This,
written on that page?
I was
On
like,
the other one I have
oh my god, I'm
60.
going to be super embarrassed otherwise. But I'm like,
No,
something's
because I
not
figured, hey,
right.
maybe his dad also went by the nickname. That was my take. But no,
That's
no.
why I
just,
said his name is Schroeder. It can't be Strider. He's not born yet.
Yeah, no.
no.
Okay, thank God. For a minute, I was like, well, I'm going to have to turn him a
Oops,
badge.
sorry, my
right.
bad.
Haha!
Yeah, for some
While
reason.
Tari, who knows a lot about Tolkien, is reeling, now's my chance to tell you all to donate. More hate donations.
Fine, I'm not gonna keep notes anymore on this game, and then I can't make
Ooh.
mistakes like this anymore.
Oh,
This
boy.
cartoonist doesn't even know the right time. I'm donating $800 to Damon Runyon because I'm...
If you think Tari is right, donate 5 to this number. If you think Arv is right,
Right.
donate.
That's funny.
Probably
Don't-
last time I asked again, hey, what year are we in? And then I misheard or something because 16
Well-
and 60 sound very alike, right?
And Granny's really old, so,
What?
So, anyway, as you continue to make your way along, then, and the man was not wrong, incidentally, about the distance involved, because it is probably, and by the way, when you get up to the crest of the hill, he's almost out of sight, and it's not a very big hill, as I mentioned. Like, he's just freaking booking it. Also responding to you, Rudinell, you convinced PayPal I'm in Maine and not Montenegro. What the heck is that anyhow? I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. I don't leave it. I'll leave it up to you to decide, but there can be other
Montenegro
ways
is in
if
the
need be.
Balkans.
Yeah. So,
Europe.
when you get up to the get up to the top hill and see he's almost gone and keep going, it's another probably couple of hours, I would say, before. So probably we're talking about 4:15 or so, when you actually see a large stone house and a round tower just sort of standing by itself, almost in the wilderness. It's sort of striking because of that. There is some moving water behind it that sort of runs right behind this place, but otherwise there's nothing else at all around it. Just this stone house and round tower that you can see.
Is that? Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that like a proper river or like just a creek that we could theoretically jump over that if we needed to?
That's probably more like a river. Although you were on the right side of it is the good news.
No, but
so
like, we don't know what happens here.
that's
It's like always
true.
keep an escape route open.
That's true. Yeah, no, much more than a creek.
The good thing is we're very experienced in crossing rivers now.
Oh yeah. Now you know everything that there is to know, presumably about that. That's quite true.
Why would we cross river? She's lovely.
And Bilbo sees it. Well, that must be it. That's Kingsworthy. We should make our way quickly.
So you said
It's a
something
job.
about ghosts or something?
Oh, ghosts. What nonsense. Stuff and nonsense. There haven't been ghosts around for hundreds of years, if there ever were any. Believe me, ghosts are not the problem. It's always the living
you,
creatures
like,
who cause problems.
Go see a dragon. So what does make ghosts like so much out of the question?
So he looks at you and puts his hands on his hips and he says, I am rather ashamed, Granny, that one with your wisdom and years would think that knowing a dragon is the same as knowing a ghost. Dragons were real until they were made into ghosts. And you know what happened then? And he looks at all of you and his eyes widen. Poof! It disappeared because it had fallen into the lake. And we haven't seen it again, fortunately. No, live dragons are much not the same thing as dead ghosts. I'm glad not to have to deal with dragons anymore. But as for ghosts, well, nonsense. Superstitious tales.
Uh-huh.
Titch is just kind of sidestepping.
Idling away.
I'm gonna get out of this right now. He's kind of siding his way towards the Stoonhoose.
Right, and
What I'm saying here, dear old.
How far
Google, I
away are we
suppose.
at this point?
You are, I would say, thank you, Arudinel. You did manage to do that. Bringing us to 3,200. Thank you very much, Arudinel, for that
Nice.
donation. Thank you. And again, that's, Arudinel has been generous in so many ways over the years, most of all through his presence.
Gave me inspiration once.
Thank you, Arudinel. So we are $100. Thank you, Rudnell. We're $100 away from inspirations now, and we are $351 away from getting halfway to our goal. So let's keep it up, chat. I would love that. Okay, now where were we? We were looking down at a tower, which is
how far away are we from it at this point?
I would say from where you are, maybe 10 minutes walk now, because you're sort of up slightly. So
Or
you do
30 seconds for Aragorn. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. One step. Haha. No.
As we're approaching, Cal is very much concerned about like being seen or us not seeing somebody, watching, waiting for us. So I'm keeping an eye on the landscape, the house itself,
Okay.
Everything, just looking for folks.
Let's have a perception check for me, please.
I got the rolls today.
Wow, no kidding. Actually, all my players have been rolling super well today. Nice. So you just you see everything. Suddenly, it's Predator
all the
vision,
stuff.
it's Batman vision. So
For those of you listening at home, or for those of you who are too cowardly to donate to the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation, that was a natural 20.
a natural 20. So with that 23, you don't see anything around here. Although you do think you see what looks very much like a set of, and it's kind of, you see them as sort of like at first just kind of like marks down the hill a little bit, Cal, but they look like regular marks, possibly footprints. You need to get up closer to see, but it definitely looks like there's something there that you can see leading down towards Kingsworthy.
On the road that we're taking right now.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, road is kind of generous. You know what I mean? Like path on the hills,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, as we go along, I'll look for one that is defined pretty well and just try to get a sense of it,
Okay.
whether it's a boot or not, hobbit sized or not.
I will take either investigation or I'll take, if you have hunting, I would take that too. If not, then just investigation.
I have hunting.
Very nice. These are, it looks like several sets of tracks, Cal.
Ooh.
almost certainly hobbit tracks, and pretty fresh.
Okay. I'll relay that to the group. Can I get a sense of how many? Are they rough numbers?
One or probably two. More than one, but probably not. Maybe three, but probably two.
Okay.
Seem to be walking single file to hide their
Hide the numbers, yes.
Yes.
So when you relay that, Bill was like, "Hobbits? Well, where are the hobbits going to find things at Kingsworthy? Who else would be going this way?"
Me?
Maybe it's ghosts,
Well, but-
hobbits. Ooh.
Well, Titch, if I may, you're not in front of us, so there wouldn't be any footprints from you yet. Have you been here before? He suddenly says suspiciously, like rounding on you. Is this your
No.
second time here?
Bilbo,
Oh,
Bilbo,
yes.
he's wearing shoes.
And he kind of looks, oh, yes, quite right, quite right. Well, even more reason he wouldn't have been the one who made the tracks. It must be one of us. Well, and he looks at Cal and looks at Granny, and he says, what hobbits would come this way that weren't us?
It's just a ghost
say?
of Aurora took going back and forth.
Maybe Coriander broke out and decided to beat us here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would make sense actually. That just sounds like her, actually. Yes.
And she made a couple of fake hobbit feet to go beside her to make us think there's actually two people.
And somehow...
More likely that she just like went in, saw we weren't there, ran out again, was like they aren't outside, and then ran back in again to wait. So
Yeah,
she's
just
probably
multiple
waiting in
tracks.
there, sitting, trying to sit there still, and that's not working.
I love in this concept that Coriander somehow moves like twice all of your speed, like just, over open ground, just $6
She's
million
just
hobbit.
the Hobbit version of the Roadrunner.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Anyway, but Bilbo sort of looks at all of you and gives you a broad grin and then sets off down the hill. And Cal, you notice that they're sort of almost perilously close to like literally stepping right on the tracks, kind of weaving over them occasionally. So you now have a third set maybe of hobbit tracks
Right.
left by
Okay.
Bilbo.
Well, probably not much danger. I'll let him go. So I'll approach with him, and again keep an eye out on the house itself.
Okay. The house looks long since, and of course you know this to be true, long since abandoned. In fact, there are a few areas of it that look sort of run down. There's maybe one part of one wall of it that looks a little bit broken in. And the tower itself seems to be fairly intact except for the front door, which is definitely not there anymore, like completely either ripped off its hinges or something, but it's just an open space into the tower itself. And so that's the tower, but also the house itself, as I mentioned, has some spots that are kind of broken down. And there does seem to be a door to the front of the house, although you can't imagine that would be hard to get through at this point in its history.
I'll keep an eye on the tracks too to see if they veer off of the path in some other direction, or if
Okay.
they continue towards the house.
They do not. They actually almost make a beeline direct for the front door.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just touch Bilbo's shoulder and say, well, maybe we should just kind of take a look and be a little bit wary here. We don't know who might be in there and what their purpose might be, but someone got here before us. That much is clear.
Do you think they're also looking for the club, like us?
Well,
He
who
says-
can say what they're
he
here
says
for?
rather loudly.
Yeah, like us.
And he says, "Oh, yes. Well, I'll can be more quiet, I suppose."
Yes. Let's try to be quiet until we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say to Titch, like, maybe you should go around the back, and I'll head towards the front, and we can just see what we see.
And
Titch seems to nod.
Granny, which
I
way
just
are
told Bilbo to be quiet. I'm not giving like, yeah, okay.
you? Granny, which way are you going? And so Titch's going in the back, Cal's front. Granny, which way are you going?
Well, since
He's
there's
gonna
only
climb
really
over
two
the top,
direction, Granny is gonna say, well, I'm just gonna have a look out here.
Okay. So to be clear, Granny's going to stay outside. Cal is going to look through the front, and Titch is going to go in the back. So I just want to be clear to everyone that we have successfully split the party 3 ways. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
I am so
But
so
we're only
excited.
on one level. So
Yes, that's true. I'm waiting for one of you to like run for the tower and like run up to the top.
But so what is Bilbo doing?
Oh, well, go ahead, Brett. You're going to say something, and then I'll talk about what Bilbo
No,
does.
I was just gonna say, well, like one of us falls in a trap, into a dungeon or something, and then we have to get that person out.
Multi-level. There you
Whoops!
go.
This was
Yeah.
Tomb of Annihilation all along. Roll up a new character.
So exactly, damn it. So Bilbo is moving to the front door along with Cal. Cal, I should say that as Bilbo is doing this, you're about to be like, okay, no, if you could really, and then you sort of are shocked because he's not to your right, and you realize that he's suddenly to your left, like dead silent, just absolutely not heard at all. And when you sort of look over at him, he goes, he looks at you and he winks, and then nods at the door as if to say, like,
Okay, I take the hint and I'll head towards the. I'm gonna head towards the tower first, since there's no door there. You said.
right, it's just open.
And is there like a set of steps going up to it or something? Or?
Not a set of steps. There's inside. There might be a set of steps that go around the interior of the tower.
All right. Well, since we don't have to open anything and make a sound, I'll go there first and just peek inside.
Okay. And I'll talk about what happens with Titch in just a minute. I'm so sorry, Granny. Where did you say you were going? Which spot?
She's gonna stay there, or says
the
that
lookout.
she's gonna
Okay.
stay there. That is a crucial part, because as soon as people are, moving away and not paying attention to her, she's gonna hide where she is. Like looking for a nice
okay.
spot to hide.
All right, we're gonna see. I got to think about where's a good place to hide. Probably behind some rubble.
just gonna hide behind her walking stick.
Just.
I'm not that thin anymore, young man. Once, like back in the day, I was like, "Ew." But no, I gained a few pounds since then. So.
And Titch is just
Yeah, exactly.
You should have seen me back in the day.
A lot of Homer Simpsoning in this episode. So we'll talk about Titch in just a second. Cal, when you get to the tower, you can look inside and see that there was indeed a set of stairs that like spiraled up around the inside wall, but much of the staircase is now fallen. There's a bunch of rubble at the bottom of it. There are several sets of stairs that go up, and like you think maybe you could like go up one set, jump over to the next set of stairs, climb up, jump. It's going to be not super easy to do it though. There's no railing, and obviously the stairs are in none too great condition. But that's the deal with that. There's a bunch of rubble on the ground, and you don't see any people or anything obvious beyond that. Whatever happened to this door, there are no remnants of it left now. There's no fragments of wood or anything like that inside.
And is there a floor above intact?
There is not a floor above, although there may be. Well, let me rephrase that. There does look like there might be a half floor, like a ledge of some kind at the very top of the tower. This might have been like an observation post for the tower at one point, and that might be what you see, but you can't see up onto the ledge from where you are.
Yeah.
So that's just a guess.
But it looks roughly even with the top of the tower. That
yes,
ledge.
the ledge. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And then are there any sets of stairs or a door, trap door, something like that leading down?
There are not.
With cellar or anything?
There are not. Well, there may, unless you want to search under the rubble, but there's not any obvious trapdoor that you can see from here.
Yeah.
And there are definitely no obvious stairs. But again, the floor does have a lot of rubble over it. Maybe there's a trapdoor below there.
I'm looking in the like sort of the drier parts. Well, anywhere really where footprints could be left for footprints.
Okay.
Trying to see if these hobbits or suspected hobbits went in here or not.
Okay, make an investigation check for me, please.
A what?
An investigation.
Investigation.
Check for me, please. Investigation.
Oh, the first bad roll.
Yeah, you don't see anything obvious. I mean, also footprints might be harder to find here anyway because this is much more dry, sort of stony, rubbly ground as it is. But you do not see any.
That's what I write it off to, not my bad roll.
Exactly. Yeah, it's, there's too much.
Here.
Yeah. Like, clearly, I would have found them under normal circumstances.
All right.
So yeah. Meanwhile, Titch, and actually, Cal, are you then turning around and heading back to the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, heading towards the house.
And Bilbo's kind of peering over your shoulder, heads back happily with you towards the house. Titch, when you get to the back, you can see that there are no doors out of the back, but there are several sets of windows, but they're all shuttered windows. The shutters are closed, and you can't see any light, obviously, inside, although, maybe you could break through the shutters to see, but you don't see anything obvious from the back of the house. Also, no sign of footprints here in the back either, at least from what you can tell.
Because there's an army of 15 Uruk blocking all the dirt. I can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Surely that's the reason.
No doubt in my mind. So the windows are shuttered.
Right.
Is there
and
any
there's
glass?
two of them. There's two sets, one in there. No, if there ever was glass, it's gone.
Okay. He's going to go over to one of the windows and try to slip the blade of his spear into the thing to see if there's like a latch to lift up so that he can try to push the shutters open.
I think you might be able to do that, actually, yeah.
Then I do that.
Ow.
Right.
As you poke a hobbit in the head.
And roll a new character.
I can't believe that your party members just fell to fighting. Like, no, it wasn't like that. I was trying to open a window. You speared your own party to open a window? Okay. So
You want to open a window, you got to stab some hobbits. That's how the old
that's
goes.
how it works, yeah. So you can sneak the blade in there and push it up. Yeah, make a dexterity check for me on this one, Titch.
Oh, this looks so beautiful. Watch this.
Watch this. Oh,
Yeah. Every time I say that, things go so well.
actually,
Ah. So yeah, you're able to kind of push it up and kind of jiggle up, and then you hear this sort of click, and then the shutters kind of like almost sort of half fall open. It may be that the latch on the other side was the only thing kind of holding them sort of in place. Like one of them almost kind of crashes to the ground, kind of hangs loosely, and you can now see inside a dust and rubble covered floor, and you think you hear maybe a faint squeaking sound, which is immediately silenced when light streams in from the outside.
So there's a vampire rat in there, is what you're saying.
A doom rat, yes. No.
Yeah. Okay.
But something on the inside. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to be a huge room, but there does seem to be a couple of what look like maybe cabinets, like storage cabinets or something, set against the wall, and there is another door on the opposite side of this room. It's not very big.
Does it look like the front door or
No.
And
no.
Okay, then I think I may have missed part of the description. Is the tower attached to this building?
It's right next to it. It's right next to the building.
But it's not attached
No.
to it. Okay, so that's not a door into the tower.
No.
Okay.
No, you would think at this point you should, Titch, be directly opposite where Cal is going, or where Granny is standing, let's put it that way, which is in front of the house. Now,
we
totally
think
concealed
Granny-
and hidden, and
Yeah. We're gonna get back around there and realize that she's been kidnapped, and then we're gonna, yeah.
It's a whole new
Yeah.
adventure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'll continue my path around the rest of the way around the place
Okay.
to come back around to the front.
By the time you do that, Cal, you've arrived probably, I don't know, 30 seconds before Titch would have finished that
Circuit.
That circuit. Yes, thank you. So you can decide what do you want to do with that front door, Cal, now that you've arrived back there.
Yeah, I'll test it gently to see if it's
Not locked.
opened. Okay. I'm going to open it and peer inside.
So when you peer inside, you find yourself looking into a decently large room that has several hallways leading off of it, possibly to other bedrooms or storage rooms or things like that. There's one door in the back as well that in the back that you can see that is closed. And then there is a very large fireplace with a large mantelpiece there. And above the cold fireplace, you can see a large wooden plaque. And it looks like you can't see it from here, but there are markings that indicate that there may have been something on this plaque or mounted to the plaque, but you don't see what it is from here.
All right. So now that we are like at the threshold, I'm nervous about leaving Granny Lavender outside. So I'm gonna just step back down to the ground and look for where she is, and
totally vanished.
Realize I can't see her. Perception?
Sure.
Do I have to roll stealth against that?
I need a stealth check for that. Yes, please.
Yes.
Just have to beat 10.
Yes. Was just checking something.
Okay. There's a part of me that hoped you failed, so I could be like, you literally were trying to hide behind your stick. It would have been funny. But no, Granny is not visible to you.
And I assume that she is hiding. Well, I'll just, go like this, and I'll
just assuming
wave
she's
her.
dead.
Yeah.
Died of old age all of a sudden.
Well, the old biddy didn't make it. All right,
move on.
Let's
That's too bad.
Okay, so you see Cal like frantically waving his arms, Granny. You can definitely see that.
Cool.
All right.
Where's Bilbo?
Bilbo is standing next to Cal, but is still staring into the house, looking at something.
Okay. I guess once Caloran turns back around, Granny would start sneaking up on the window that he just waved out of.
Okay. Towards the window, you're. Wait,
now I want to know how close she gets before I see her.
Right, exactly. Because you're sneaking up towards the door. You said, Granny, like moving up.
No, to the window that Cal just waved out.
I'm in the door.
He's in the door. That's why I asked that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, then I guess. Is there a window next to them?
There is a shuttered, closed window. Yes, there's one of them in the front.
No, I guess then she would sneak up to the door, but like not step through it.
Okay.
But like after Caloran turned back around again, that's like the important part.
Yes, I'm gonna need another stealth check from you, and Cal, you can make another perception check as you sort of turned around.
I'm picturing Granny just running up and through that window, like crashing through.
18.
Okay.
I still don't see her.
Just like because Bilbo's like, do you see that thing above the mantelpiece? What do you think was held there?
Yeah.
And Granny just appears like Gandalf stepping out from behind a tree.
I think Granny Lavender went with Titch.
What? Well, why would Granny? Never mind about Granny right now. Do you see that thing above the mantelpiece?
Well,
would Bilbo call her Granny, by the way? They're 20 years apart.
That's true. Maybe we'd call you. Well, it depends on whether you used it as like a term of respect, where like just everybody calls you. Like there are people like
I don't know
like
if
everyone
he has
in the
any
Shire.
Respect for her. She has very little respect for him.
Because like everyone in the Shire calls the gaffer, right? Like everybody except for Sam. Like, well, even Sam calls him the gaffer. So like everybody calls him the gaffer regardless of how old. So I was thinking Granny was in that regard, So
yeah, sure. You're playing Bilbo, not me. Just wondering.
Yeah, no, I mean, unless you would say that Granny would find that offensive, Bilbo would not intentionally offend Granny for sure.
No, she would find that a bit weird, but because was like they're cousins. But anyway, yeah, just.
You told me not to call you honey anymore.
Yeah, I guess. I guess I don't know how ubiquitous that term has become for Granny. Maybe you would call you Lavender. I suppose that's possible. I guess you'd have to tell me whether Granny is like a very ubiquitous title almost now for her.
No, it's more like she tells like people that she's like kind of like how when it's like hey, you can call me that, and like somebody standing next to her it's like, hey, but you never told me that I could call you that, just like to spite them.
I see. Well, then in that case I'd say Lavender then.
But even you know how like adults switch their mode of referring to people when they're talking to the generation younger, their kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like if the kids refer to somebody as Granny, they say Granny because that's how the kids refer to them and know them, kind of thing.
Oh, that's true. Especially around Coriander, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Especially around Coriander. That's true.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No,
that's actually
fair.
a good point.
It might be habitual on Bilbo's
That's
part
a
at
good
this point.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine.
So he's never mind. Well, what about the thing above the mantelpiece? He says, pointing at it.
Yes. I'll take a look, but Cal's clearly worried about Granny now, and he's looking one last time before she like jumps out of the bushes or something.
Well, I was just about to say, at this point, Titch has arrived around the side. I want Titch to make a perception check too, and we're gonna compare that to the stealth that was made.
Natural
thank
20.
God.
No.
Thank
Okay,
God.
okay, so
What
here's
are you doing
what
there?
you see.
Exactly, because Titch walks around and like sees Granny like doing the like.
Oh, hey,
Okay,
Granny.
no. So here's what Titch sees actually. Like Granny is like lurking behind the door, at the door frame, like peeking in, and like about to jump out to them to like startle Bilbo.
Yeah.
But
So
then
Titch, what do you
Titch
do?
walks up and she and then like whatever Titch does.
Like that one friend that we all have, like you're trying to pull off a joke, he just comes in and not really realizing he's ruining it, ruins it for everybody. Titch just kind of walks up like, "Hey, what'd you guys find?" And
Okay.
And Granny almost gets a heart attack and like almost falls over.
Like stumbles for Cal, at which point you're like, ah, like all these people.
like a double ah.
Yes. Like, ah. Meanwhile, Bilbo pays no attention and is like just sort of like walking in towards the flak. What does Granny do to Titch at that point? Is Granny like, God, what
just the walking stick just whack. Goes around.
No, like after she catches herself again, she just gives her like the meanest stink eye, like trying to murder him with her gaze.
I just asked what's going on. I don't understand what.
At this point, Bilbo has just made his way just inside.
And like Granny just like straightens out her dress and like also steps inside.
So you all see
Grumbly.
what I described. Oh, I'm sorry, Tariq. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, she's grumbly, like
Oh, okay.
her perfect prank.
Well,
was
yeah. You can step inside and look back and be like, what were you looking for? Anyway.
Right. Exactly. And she. So, but Bilbo looks up, and so once you're inside, you can also see, Dragon Spear. You can see that Dragon Spear has contributed $100 to the Dameron Cancer Foundation. Thank you, Dragon. So that means we're up to 3,300, which means the players have gained inspiration. Thank you so much, Dragon Spear. Appreciate it.
It's
Could have
pronounced
needed that a minute ago.
EO. That's right. Now it's EO. It's like that old calculator trick that you do. You could do a certain calculation again that would, let's say, Hell's Bells. You could like do this whole thing. This is the days before This is before we had the chance to do anything fun with our lives, Tari. Okay, it was
the
interesting
only
challenge.
thing Texas Instruments was good.
We
Exactly.
also did that back in school, but like we spelled out German words. So like.
Okay, well, listen.
Yeah, like the German word for donkey, for example, is like the classic easy. Like it's like 7 3
Exactly.
something 3 5 3 there.
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
flip
I'm
it
trying to
around.
remember what
It's easy.
then you do that, and then you do the equals. Anyway, yes, I remember very well. Yeah, that's right. 773. Yeah. Anyway, so inspirations for the 3 players here, which is lovely, and we're now only $251 away, chat, from passing our halfway goal. So let's keep it up, because we have another 50 minutes with this crew. 5-0 to be clear, Tari, not 5.
I'm just trying to check if I still have
Got
my
'em.
old school calculator, but I think I got rid of it after the battery ran out. So,
You can replace those. Never mind.
yeah, but like I never needed a calculator again after I finished school.
Because
by
you're
that time,
German and you're
smartphones-
precise. Thank you.
So now,
No, because smartphones became a thing.
That's true.
So it's like,
all of you now that are inside can now see the same thing, which is there is this very cold. There's the room itself is very dusty. There's some, kind of some stuff strewn around the floor, mostly like not rubble, like lots of stone, but kind of like some broken shards of wood and things like that. There's a couple of hallways leading off to what might be other bedrooms or storage rooms. There's one door in the back, which Titch, you would guess would be the thing that led
Door
to the
that I
room.
saw.
Yeah, you think? And then you got the fireplace and then the mantelpiece above it. And there is a wooden plaque there that looks odd in some way. There's something strange about it. And there's a wooden chair which is sitting near the fireplace in an odd position, actually, right in front of the fireplace. I don't mean like sitting it like I'm going to enjoy this fire, but like up as if it's like almost up against the back of the chair is almost up against the inside of the fireplace.
As though someone were using it for a step stool to try to reach said plaque.
Well, that's an interesting theory.
Yes. However, Titch says, Look, clearly somebody took the club and cut it into planes and made a backstop, plaque out of. And he just kind of dismisses that thought and turns towards that other door because.
Yeah, after looking at Bilbo, after Bilbo's like, "What?" and then as you turn away, he's like, "Oh, all right, well, no," he's like horrified at the thought.
Titch is very happy to have horrified Bilbo.
Yes,
he's just like, that's a point of pride for me. And he's focused on that door. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
The plaque. I mean, I will take a look at the plaque and try to figure out what it is, what it says, or anything.
I will take for this. I would take either investigation or I would even take a riddle check for this. If you have either one of those.
It doesn't look like I have riddle.
Yeah,
is that something you would get as?
Yeah, it'd be based on, both of them are based on intelligence. So riddle would probably be something you'd more specialize in. So.
I have riddles.
What about folklore?
No, that wouldn't,
No.
because you're trying to figure out what happened to this, not what the plaque is.
Oh, okay.
Presumably.
Yeah, I don't have anything else good. What did you say?
So investigation would be the other one.
All right, I don't have any bonus.
Okay, just roll 20.
Yeah, that's. I think we got a 10 there, if I'm not mistaken.
But
that's
it's 2 10s.
It's
That's
2
a
10s.
20.
Together makes 20. No, it's actually, that's enough. Because all you really needed to see was the fact that something probably was fairly long, a long object, actually probably as tall as one of the hobbits, if you had to guess. Unquestionably, something was mounted on this plaque and has been removed. You can see a couple of spaces where there's almost like maybe like a metallic or brass fixing or something which has been kind of peeled back. Something has been taken off of the plaque. And if you had to guess, as you're looking there, Cal, you can also see that there is a very clear footstep by the chair set in some of the ash of the fireplace.
A hobbit footprint?
Sure looks like it.
And the where the thing might have been taken off, is the wood less weathered in the center? Is that an obvious thing I can see?
Or rather, is there less dust? Maybe that's
Yeah. Is there noticeable difference of any sort?
I would say yes.
Border and the
I
center?
would say yes, almost certainly. Not so much weathered, but I would say yes. There's less dust for sure in the center
what
area.
shape does that make?
The whole thing is actually, if you had to guess, it would be, as I said, long and maybe with rounded edges. Like, in other words, how do I describe it? Like long with like a curved surface on this thing, but the entire object was a curved surface basically. So I'm not describing this well at all. It's
is
so
it
it's a plaque.
vaguely
It's like
club shaped? Let's put it that way.
It could be, but it's this is what I'll say. This is why I'm hesitant. It could be a club, but it's a long club. But of course, this was Bull Roar Took we're talking about. But it is a
also,
long
is it like
club.
A long club in this, like by Hobbit standards, or like also by men's standards?
Well, it's about the size of a hobbit, so I would think even for a human, it probably would be a decent-sized club. I mean,
You remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's playing baseball and the guy has this monstrous bat that's like 30 feet long and he's swinging it back and forth.
Your son got tall.
Yeah,
what the hell?
No joke.
I remember him being a literal baby. What? What?
They do that. It is so inconsiderate.
He said, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "I am." He played
Correct
soccer earlier today.
Correct reply.
And he brought me
Correct
my
reply.
food, which looks very delicious.
Eat smakelijk. Guten Appetit. Bon appetit.
Danke. It's actually, and I think it's barbecue chicken. It looks good. Anyway.
Can't tell?
Well, it's on, no, it's definitely
It
chicken.
could be chicken chow mein.
It's shish kebab
Might
chicken.
be barbecue.
Shish kebab chicken, rice, and asparagus.
Saw the asparagus.
So where was I? Anyway.
The
Shire.
club.
Okay.
Yeah, so the top of the thing. So yes, it does look, so it could very well be it would be long even for a man. I mean, if I think about like a human, like if I think about a club, I don't know, a club is probably a I don't know.
Like a baseball bat, but thicker.
Yes, a baseball bat, but probably even a little shorter. You know, you think about it, like a blackjack is quite short, relatively speaking.
Oh.
So a club is not like it's not like a fake sword, you know, a wooden sword length. I would say it's a little bit shorter than that because you want some. So
like
this thing is pretty
police
long.
truncheon.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
standard wooden sword length. That is like patented under Dean.
Like a regular, you know what I mean, like
76,
a regular sword,
C.
but one that's used for training, a training sword type of thing.
Which
So.
also come in various sizes.
And it's
Alone
also
today, I saw multiple different lengths of wooden swords.
that's
on
good.
at
That
the
actually
market,
is a good
so-
point. I'm talking to someone who just came from a Viking market. That's a good point. But this is also fairly wide too, if you had to guess, in terms of where the less dust would be.
It's a paddle. The famous paddle of Bull Roar.
Roar's paddle.
And so Bilbo's looking as you're sort of looking at this, and he says, "Well, what do you think, my boy? What has happened? What is it? Is that where the club was?"
We came to the house of Bull Spankertook, who was a very different guy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, is this a like a fraternity for some local college or something?
Oh my God.
It was a hazing paddle.
What is wrong with all of you? Like Alpha Hobbit Phi? Like, seriously?
Also, German fraternities do swords, so.
Do they?
That
Yeah,
actually,
they do. It's
nothing
really
has
like
surprised me less than hearing that a German fraternity uses sword for hazing. That surprises me not at all. Yeah, Bull
German
Snorer,
fraternities
exactly.
are.
So Titch
Yeah.
moves closer to the front door. Basically, he's still facing towards the other door that he
I
saw.
thought he was going to the back door. He's going back to the front now.
He is, but he's kind of moving in a slight.
Wait. So as you do that, Cal says, "Whoa, stop! Everybody stop!"
And
And then we have some footprints. I found one right here. I would like to follow them and see where they went. And if we walk all over this room, I won't be able to. So just stay where you are for 1 second. And I'm going to try to find, before I address the plaque and the potential club, to look for any additional tracks to see if I think they might have gone back to the front or deeper into this house.
Let me have you make another investigation check for this.
This is Titch's scene from the Dark Knight, where he's like,
All right,
"Give me 5 minutes before your men contaminate this."
My
Exactly.
investigation blows.
Or from Batman Begins. What is that? Back up.
So investigation, not perception.
No, investigation. You're specifically looking for particular things here.
All right.
Can we be assisting him by not muddying the scene?
I would say this is making it not giving him
not
disadvantage by not
disadvantage.
I know.
Exactly.
All right. I'm going to use my inspiration on this roll because I want to find out where they went, if anywhere.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like a
There
plan.
we go. Well,
Oh.
could have been worse, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been.
711.
Yeah, better than a 7 is definitely that 11. So, the good news, though, actually, Cal, is that there are tracks, and these are not hard to follow. They are actually, so I feel like it's all detective vision. This is what happened, but you can't see all of it. What I can tell you is this much, though. There is a little bit of ash on the chair seat. So, there's ash in the chair seat, and then you obviously look to the plaque. The tracks, then you can see some of those like ashen footprints, leading back towards the front door. But the thing is, as you look at them, they are broader and broader spread out, as if whoever was doing this, or multiples, it might have been 2, were going at faster speeds as they headed towards the door.
Okay.
And again, the reason you're able to do this with not an amazing investigation check is that this person or people were not taking any obvious, care to
sides
hide
or
their tracks
movements.
or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
So
All right. I passed that along to everybody and just say, oh, all right, I think we move around. I did find some tracks here, and I point them out,
And Bilbo says, "Well, this is terrible. It means that perhaps, has the club been stolen? We must find those thieves. That belongs elsewhere. That club belongs in a museum. And he says, mine.
So do you.
Assuming that even was the club.
And,
You know, if the club was like hanging there all this time, then it would have been stolen away quite a long time ago, don't you think?
and he says, well, I don't really know. It's possible that not many people came to Kingsworthy, if anyone. And perhaps they would have left it there. Some people have respect for the treasures of others. They don't simply try to take it and bring it back to their own places for their own benefit.
Titch's eyebrow kind of crawls up over the top of his head all the way to the back of his neck.
I was actually waiting for Coriander to like Kool-Aid Man the door at that point. Like, anyway.
How about we first further search this place?
And Bilbo nods. Oh, yes, I suppose.
Well, then have at it.
Okay.
And she like kind of shoves him with her walking stick in like direction of like one. I'm assuming there's like multiple rooms probably in this building, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of hallways and that seem to lead to other rooms. That's right.
Yeah, she like pushes him in direction of one of the other rooms.
Titch, what about you? Because you were sidestepping before, and then I'll come back to Cal.
He was basically like shimmying to the side to be moving toward the front door, but still facing the door that he saw from the window.
Okay.
With his spear ready, so that if anybody came through to try to bolt out the front door, he would be in their path.
Okay. Yeah, no one has moved from behind.
And then he's going to slowly start moving toward that door.
Okay. I will come back to that. Cal, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was gonna make sure that Titch finished whatever he was doing, but I will tell everyone like there's a bit of ash on the chair, which is strange. And as I say this, I'm going to move towards the fireplace itself, and well, I'm going to look for any possible sources of ash outside of the fireplace first. See if there are any. Are there?
There are not. In fact, almost certainly the ash that's here was tracked from the inside of the fireplace.
Right.
And then...
all the way from the Haven at Midway.
Yeah, long way.
So I'll something curious about this fireplace. Maybe come have a look, Randy, and then I'll take a look myself, just see if I don't know if there's anything curious about it. Footprints in there, anything else?
Okay.
Well, what do we have here? And then Granny says a little rhyme about fireplaces and cooking, and thus grants Caloran a lore die via her ability Rhymes of Lore.
Ooh.
Which is basically like bardic inspiration.
I love that. Okay, so then Cal, you can make an investigation check, but you can, if need be, you can then add the number rolled, and it is a D6, to your ability check that you're just making here, because it has to be within the next minute. And you can wait until you after you see the roll before deciding to use the die, but you have to do it before I tell you what happened.
Okay.
Do I have a good rhyme at hand for that?
Natural 20.
Welp.
I'm gonna save the die just in case there's something more that I have to sort of investigate. But I have a feeling that I found something initially.
Okay. Yeah. What you see as you kind of are looking around the ash that's in the fireplace is, as you sort of like are reassembling the scene, almost certainly there have been multiple, probably 2 hobbits within this place recently, because there are hobbit footprints, but they're not the same hobbit. But the thing that's odd is that as you follow the tracks, and this is what this critical roll gets you, as you follow the tracks, one of the tracks seems to have led to this ash on the chair seat, and then going up to get the thing, and then came back down to the floor. Those footprints, as you follow them back to the door, seem to be going at the same distance from each other. So the footprints are all basically the same distance. The second set of prints, though, which are slightly larger, definitely still hobbit size, but slightly larger, these ones also go to the fireplace. You don't know if there's any ash on the seat from those feet or not, but you do know that when they then those tracks go back out the door again, those are the ones that are sort of wider spread apart. So in other words, the first one that came was walking at a normal speed when they left. The second one was running.
I deduced that the club is cursed and that the first hobbit who took it chased the other one out of this place and clubbed them to death somewhere.
There's a quest like that in the first Baldur's Gate, yeah, but with a sword.
And in the original Jungle Book with the elephant prod.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna relay that to the gang.
Okay. Meanwhile, you hear, I don't find anything in here. And you hear this like slamming as like Bilbo is clearly like opening up one of the bedrooms back there. A lot of rotted away cloaks, maybe, but it's hard to tell anymore. Nothing about a club. Have you found any more about clubs?
Coming, Bilbo. So, yeah, I'll tell the others what I found, but then,
Okay.
you know, maybe it is worth a look around this place a little bit.
Titch, in the meantime, I think you've now reached the door in the back of the room. What do you want to do about that?
He's going to use the tip of his spear to kind of knock on the wood and say, if you're in there, come out before I have to come in and find you.
Silence reigns.
And then he'll open the door.
He opens it to find a...
Bats!
Yeah, exactly. Just a million of them. No.
A ghost!
He finds... What are you doing here? No, he opens the door to find a room that is dark, although there is light streaming in a what looks like a broken shuttered window that's in the back wall. There's a lot of wood shards in the ground, and there is what may have once been a bed frame that's kind of collapsed and sort of down on the ground. Like it's all kind of shards and flinders mostly, but you think there might have been what it looks like it had the footprint, not a footprint, but the footprint of a bed at one point. That's in this sort of dusty ground here. Otherwise, there's not a lot here. It also occurs to you that it may have been that years ago some of this part might have been stripped for valuables, or it's possible that no one has been here in a long time and that it's just kind of empty at this point.
Clearly, the char woman came in and took all the bedding and everything. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, missus, I can't... Oh, Joe.
For those of you who don't know, watch the channel more often. Anyway, so right,
or read the greatest short story ever told. Either way, ever written.
Sometimes it's not that short. Trust me, we know.
I've modified it over the years.
I understand. You modified it. Wow, that's like changing Shakespeare. Anyway,
found
so
Dickens.
Yeah. So finding nothing in there, Titch is gonna, having also noted when Caloran mentioned the footprints heading out the door, he's going to head out the door and try to follow and see where these footprints went. Since we did notice there was kind of a back and forth to the footprints we found before we got here, he's going to try to see if he can further deduce where the exiters might have gone.
Okay, but not going through this room. You mean going back out to the front, or like, well, okay. So let me have you make an investigation check.
Oh God! Okay. 13.
Okay. So the way that Cal described things, you're kind of like, how does he know all that? You know, type of thing. But it's certainly the case that as you're sort of looking at the area, there's unquestionably you can see some footprints that lead outside. One thing you can tell is that once the footprints lead outside, they then set off. Now this is going to be a little bit, how do I describe this? Not very like focused, because it's a large map basically, so you're just going to have to, you know, go a little bit. But the footprints seem to be going this way. So not along the path that you came, but in a different direction. And again, based on what Cal has described to you as these two sets, you think it might indeed be two sets of footprints. Obviously not ash covered after a while, but you can see impressions in the earth. You can see mud and things like that. Very easy to follow. Again, neither the walking person nor the running person were taking any care to cover their tracks at all.
Just for my own sake, I'm going to do this. Okay. Just for my own personal decision-making process of whether Titch could make this connection, how far from the house do the longer strides of the running person slow down to a normal pace, as though they finally caught up with the person who was simply walking before?
Way beyond the house. Like,
So
you'd have to leave the house to determine that.
Well, that's what he's walking out the front door.
No, I'm saying, no, I don't mean that. I mean, like, leave the area. Like, you'd have to leave your companions, because it's like...
You don't actually find the place where that happens.
Okay, yeah, so from that, he draws a conclusion that the time between the first set of tracks was made and the second set of tracks was made was a little more significant than what he thought. Because whoever was running was trying to catch up to this other person.
That's fair to say, yeah.
Way out there, yes, okay.
Yep.
All right, he goes back in and relates all that.
By this point, Bilbo has come out front, looking very pleased with himself.
Cobwebs all over him.
Yeah, very much so. Basically, covered with soot and everything. But he's found, he is holding up very proudly a stone that seems to have some kind of markings on it.
I found a 1,000-year egg.
No. So yes.
The dog.
So he's holding up this marked stone, and he says, "Yes, look at this. You can see that there was indeed someone here. It's as if they were marking time." And he shows you that indeed there is a stone that has these black marks that have been drawn on the top of it, that seem to be the classic, 1, 2, 3, 4 slash for 5 days, 6, 7, 8, 9 slash for 10, and so on, as if someone was counting days there. But the marks are faded and look way older than the footprints we've been speaking about.
What are the marks made with?
Hard to say. It could have been like a piece of coal, or it could have been some kind of like a charcoal crayon, or even something like digging into it with like a burned stick might have been able to leave markings like that.
Yeah, but like this kind of stuff like doesn't last long, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, this seems to have lasted a while though. So whatever it was made of seems to have been kind of like almost etched a little bit into the surface of the stone.
Granny is bored with your description.
So I'm just tired. It's midnight.
Sorry, where was the stone?
In one of the side rooms that Bilbo was exploring, that was investigating.
Okay. Can I get a sense of like how many rooms there are in this place? I don't know if there's like a central hall that leads to other, things, or...
You probably would guess that there are about 10 to 12 rooms in this place, counting this large one that you're in.
This is a big house.
Yeah, it's bigger than I thought.
Pretty big. But they're not big rooms, though. Other than the big one in the middle, their rooms themselves are all fairly small. There's one room that might have served maybe as a kitchen at some point because of the sort of the way the structures are built, like, the footprint of the things that were in there. But, there's no pots or pans or anything like that would make that clear. That's just a guess. And it's all one floor, single floor, except for the tower next to it, which we talked about, but that's not attached. That's a separate building.
But we probably came into this like the feasting hall type thing.
Essentially, but it's not a bit. Again, I don't want to overstate it though. A lot of small rooms. It's a pretty small. Yeah, it's a decent sized room, but not a hall.
Okay. Well, should we check out the other rooms and just to?
Yeah. Granny would suggest that anyway.
I mean, how many did Bilbo go through at this point?
Bilbo probably went through about 10 to 12.
Okay.
He went rather quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was like was this a hobbit place? Yeah, or was this a human built place?
No, you think it's probably built more for human size, but it could have been one of several hunting lodges, and because it was pretty far away from a lot of the seat of the kingdoms, it might have been one that was like a country home. Maybe at one time it was very nice. But rustic, It's like,
nice enough to be Kingsworthy.
Indeed.
Yeah. So this is like back
TM.
from when, like presumably from when the
But
the Numenorians settled here, or what? And like the kings of the were like still reigning over here, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so this is like an old fucking place, like real old. Okay. I guess what Granny would try to do, like if assuming whether are we going back to check the rest of the house?
I mean, you can do that if you wish. I can tell you that I'll have you make checks for it, but most of the rooms are just in the same kind of flinders and, wooden shards and, kind of broken down stuff condition.
Granny would like to go back, assuming that the rest of the party agrees.
I'll join. Just to, we've come all this way. I think it's worth, and Cal would be curious too. Anyway, just to kind of take a look.
Okay.
Even if it's kind of fast.
So what Granny would like to do about the place is check for two things. First of all, she would like to get like a feeling for the room layout to see if the accessible rooms make like sense with each other, or if there's like, hey, either this wall is like 5 meters thick, or there should be a hidden room, secret room in between there. That kind of situation.
Okay.
But like there's no door, or seeing if she can find some kind of like hidden basement. Like I don't know if there's like a carpet or something on the floor, like dragging up the carpet.
No carpets,
like,
but I know what you mean. Like, so
like
go ahead and make an investigation check for me. Let's see what you find.
Pitch has no
yeah,
idea
I
what
also
she's
use
doing.
my inspiration for that. Thank you very much.
Seems reasonable.
Pitch just thinks she's testing.
Cal
the
is going to
fluid way
help
of the
by
room.
drawing this place, like putting it on a map and just kind of like showing it to Granny here and there.
Okay.
This is
I'll
18.
give you one additional because of what Cal just said. So let's make that a 19 then.
Nice.
Lavender. You don't, as you kind of go through this, you're a little bit disappointed probably to say that there's not a lot of secret stuff here. Maybe part of the problem with Kingsworthy is that there just wasn't a lot exciting to be found there, or at least no one ever took the time to care about stuff that might have had some value, at least until recently. As I mentioned, the ashen footprints and all that stuff, these are all fresh within probably within a day or less, a couple days at most. Very fresh. But the stuff for the rest of the house that you see is, as you had surmised, extremely old, like, very broken down. And there's no obvious secret doors or trap doors or things like that. Now, there are a couple of rooms that are covered in rubble. And if you wanted to take a few hours to just do nothing but clear rubble, maybe you might find something at the bottom. But leaving that aside, there doesn't seem to be anything obvious in terms of secret doors, trap doors, or stuff like that. Again, stuff has been destroyed and kind of run down a long time ago.
No, in that case, since the place is so old, like, what is the floor made of on the ground floor? Like,
the ground floor is basically a kind of stone, a kind of worked stone. Not heavily
so
worked,
there's like
though.
no wooden floors here
No.
anywhere.
No. The wooden stuff that you see seems to have been maybe from doors and beds and things like that.
Okay. Because like then Granny would have suggested, hey, this floor should be like pretty
Right.
rotting far away. Maybe Titch can just take an axe and just like,
Yep.
do a quick hole in there, but no. Yeah, I guess then like the last thing she would check for would be like in the kitchen area to see if there's like a pantry basement type of thing, right? To like keep food cool
A root
in
cellar.
summer.
Right.
Food
Same deal. There doesn't seem to be anything in here.
Okay.
It's possible that there was like an outside chamber, but it was like dug into the hill or something like that. That might have been something like that, but not inside this house anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
I'm picturing, by the way, with these two hobbits, going off somewhere, like a very sad version of the Hunt for Merry and Pippin, where we're like trying to trek across the North Farthing and catch up to them. We're moving really slow.
The hunters will make a run such as none have ever heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Can we
guess
take a
then
break?
we
60
should
minutes
at
later.
least check the tower before we leave to track these guys.
And Bilbo has exited and is now kind of standing, looking out, looking rather sad, a sad expression on his face at the potential loss of this club. So yeah, if you all want, you can explore the tower or take a look at the tower again. Up to you.
Yeah, I'll
would
join.
like to.
I didn't get a chance. I was worried about making noise earlier, but I'll take a look as well.
Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned, there's no door to it anymore. There is a bunch of stone on the ground of this place, and you can see there's a staircase that winds up around the inside of the tower, but it's only there for every few, I don't know exactly how far, every maybe 10 feet or so roughly, it varies. There's this big gap where the stones for the stairs have fallen away, and so you'd have to basically like jump to the next set of stairs if you wanted to keep making your way up.
I've been playing a lot of
I think you're
Zelda,
muted,
like the
Trent.
new Zelda lately.
Yeah.
So like my first thought was, hey, can we just like move like a plank here and just use it as a bridge?
And then you hear da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, basically. No.
I mean, if we were playing Jedi Survivor, you could just, basically double jump and, you'd look for a marked wall, you just run around the inside of it.
Of course.
But sadly,
of course.
we are not doing those things.
No. Well, Granny certainly won't do any parkour here. So unless the others want to.
Yeah, when Arv mentioned, if you're going to be spending any time shifting Rebel around, I'm like, I'm sure Granny's back would love that.
All right, let's go.
You would love standing on the sides and just directing you guys to do that.
Bend at the knees.
So if not parkouring, then we'll find out whether Cal would have parkoured, but we'll check that, I suppose, in a second.
Well, or Titch.
Well, no, because Titch, I think already. Yeah.
Titch is a long-legged one in this party.
Not that long.
Well, comparatively, it's all relative, as Einstein said. So.
That's right. As a man of Bree, the men of Bree are trained in parkouring around towers. It's their
right.
Real
he has a spear that he can use as a vaulting pole.
Well, I was just gonna say I could just kind of scoop, Cal up, fling him up on the next thing.
Lavender and Titch have both kind of ruled out the idea of parkouring up this inside tower wall, Cal, and I wanted to see what you thought before.
Yeah, Cal doesn't feel like it's worth it to check. I think we gotta try to track down these hobbits and see what they do.
Okay. If that is what people say, then I will say that as you kind of head off to follow the tracks, and now we're talking about, you got there about 4. So it's now the sun is very low in the sky as you're kind of making your way back across these things, and as Dawn Thunder has donated $33.33, thus bringing our total to $3,333.33. The return of Order from Chaos. Order has taken over.
Pronounced.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Dawn Thunder, for that. And now those of you who wanted chaos, you have something to shoot for right now, because that's where we're at. Thank you so much, everybody, for the donations tonight. We appreciate it. Only 218, he said doubtfully. I think that's right. A little less than $218 left before we get halfway through towards our goal. So definitely consider that. In the meantime, for the very brief period of time, enjoy 33333 before chaos reigns.
Hey, Bucks.
And exclamation point donate for that. Yeah, hi to live suing as well. Okay. And as a quick note, we are going for 15 more minutes before the session comes to an end, and then we'll be shifting over to the concert for the evening before Community D&D tonight. So, with that happening, your brain is saying you had a card enough money to make that 696969. Yeah, well, we already had. That was already.
I tried that.
You did.
Tried that.
It worked. It was amazing. Okay, so as you set across, the sun, as I mentioned, is lowering in the sky, and as you're kind of following these tracks, as you're following these tracks, I imagine, I don't know whether you're feeling nervous, except that this is definitely not the path you took before, and you are all too, cognizant of the whole, oh my gosh, be careful at night, because it's getting along there. And I would say probably as it's closing in, it's maybe a half hour before dusk, I would have to say. I need all 3 of you to make wisdom checks for me, specifically hunting. Does anybody have hunting that they can use or no? Cal, you do, right? So
Yep.
Cal, let me have a check from you, please. A hunting check.
Oh.
Just a wisdom check, correct?
No, it really should be more hunting than just wisdom because it's about track
Well,
following.
I don't have hunting.
So that I think that we're looking at Cal.
Bilbo doesn't have to make a roll.
That's right. Bilbo is just kind of Bilbo is sort of following along, still feeling a little despondent, although
Yeah, he's thinking about that club.
thinking about the club. But you do in fact spot in the rapidly gathering darkness. Not dark yet, but it's getting it's heading there quickly. You see a lean, brown-haired hobbit who is apparently seems to be like looking at the ground and racing along, like not as not running, but you can tell is almost like it's like the sort of walk to jog from someone who looks maybe like they've been running for a long time, and they're just like, you can almost hear the as they're like moving along, following or looking down at these looking down at the ground.
How far away?
A couple 100 feet probably.
Okay. Well, is he tired enough that we can catch up to him fairly easily?
You would think so, yeah, assuming that you
All
move at a decent pace, yeah.
I'll sort of beckon the group and I'll head that way.
Okay, and Bilbo's like, I wonder if he has it. Do we think he has the club?
Well, I think we'd be able to see it from here.
Oh, well, that's quite right. I hadn't thought about that. That's that sensible nature in you, of course.
In the failing light, can we get any sense of, Titch can't, but get any sense of who this might be?
No, except certainly a hobbit because of the size. No way to know, though, about... 1 second. There we go. Certainly a hobbit, but no way to know what kind in the darkness. You need to get closer to see that.
So I'm going to break from the group. I don't know how fast people are moving, but I'm going to try to catch up to this guy.
Okay.
To this hobbit.
Okay.
I move a bit faster than the average hobbit.
Okay, that's fair enough. You do actually. And you are able to catch up, and you can see indeed as you get close that it is a little older, not granny age. I mean, not that old, but no.
Nobody's that old.
Who are you calling old, young man?
Exactly. A somewhat older hobbit with brown hair, kind of making his way along, and he's definitely looking down and kind of murmuring to himself, staring at the same tracks that you've been following, Cal.
All right. Well, I'm going to hail the fellow.
And
hey there.
And he sort of, I didn't see you there. I was so busy doing this. Look, I'd like to talk, but I can't. I got to find her. You see, I've got to find her now. And he sort of turns around and starts bustling off again.
Yes. You do seem to be in some distress, and I wonder if we might be able to help you. Could you tell us what you're doing?
Well,
me and my friends here.
There's some man-a-bree with a spear.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, he also looks up, and I don't know if you've ever had the experience of like reading something for a long time in a room that's getting darker and darker, and eventually you look up and you're like, Jesus, is it dark? Like what? Yeah. Like when did it get to be? That sort of thing.
I recorded
with
friends, so for me, it's when the sun is coming up. So,
right, exactly. Or Brad, exactly. You're playing outside with friends as a kid, and you're all of a sudden like, wait, why
like,
can I no longer see?
I can barely see anything.
And you kind of get that impression, like he sort of is like kind of almost adjusting to talking to people, and is like, and he says, I guess I could rightly use others' help. I'm looking for my daughter, you see. My name's Mort. I'm from down there by Oakbarton, and I'm looking for my daughter Myrtle. She's been gone for a while, and she's never gone out this way. And my wife and I are powerful worried about her, and my wife said to go find her, and that's what I intend to do. And so it seems silly, but I had a feeling I knew where she was going when she disappeared. I mean.
Where did you think she was going?
You see, sir, well, it's like this. Well, she loves to play goblin knocking with the other children. It's where you look for something that's like a weapon, you know, a powerful weapon. Well, she's always been a little bit that way. She loved tales, sir, tales of warriors and war chiefs and hobbits that used to fight in the old days. I don't know really where she gets that from, sir. I mean,
I'm guessing she went to Kingsworthy. Am I right?
Well, that's it exactly, sir. At least that's what I thought it was. We traveled up there, and I traveled up following her, and I came in, and well, I saw her footprints, sir, and I was scared to go inside, but I had to find her, and then all of a sudden I saw that Chaotix donated $123.45 to the Damon Running Cancer Research Foundation, and I believe Chaotix is now actually taken over the lead for top donor, and that's really impressive. Also, the number now is 345678, and that's pretty amazing. Thank you so much, Chaotix. I appreciate it. 345678. Chaotix is in the lead, and we are also now only less than $100 away from crossing over the halfway point. Thank you very much, Chaotix. Seriously, for that generosity.
As numbers go, that is one to remember. The 3, 4, 5.
What's the opposite of inspiration again?
Because 7, 8, 9. All right. Thank you very much, Chaotix. Really, I appreciate that, and that's really awesome news, folks. We're making great progress. Thank you, Chaotix. And also, yes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's pretty awesome. So, Mort says, and well, I knew it. I came in there and I knew she must have taken something, sir. She's always talking about these weapons and about things the hobbits did. It wouldn't take much to know that Bull Roarer was responsible. And I don't know where she gets it from, sir. I mean, all right, so maybe I tell her stories once in a while. Maybe I tell her stories every night, you know, because maybe we both, when I was a child, maybe I pretended I was a great warrior. But that's neither here nor there. She wandered off on her own, see, and I think she came up here and she found the club and she's taken it, sir, and now I've got to find her. It's almost dark, and if she's on the North Moors, well, she's just a child. She won't be able to help, or she won't be able to stop anything that's trying to hurt her. We've got to reach her. And Bilbo's kind of listening. Oh, and do you think she might have the club? And he says, yes. Well, I think we have our course then. He kind of like, marches off, in the direction the man was heading.
And the girl's name was?
The girl's name is Myrtle, he tells you.
Myrtle.
Yeah.
The important thing, Bilbo, is that we find Myrtle, and hopefully we find the club too.
And he says, I hope so, sir. I can't even, my wife Marigold will be so upset. How could I face her if I couldn't find her? And she's my only child, and she's a good child. She's a little caught up in fairy tales and things sometimes, sir. And so, yes, please help.
Yes, we'll absolutely join you and try to find Myrtle. Do we have, I don't know if you're as a travel packs with, like, say, torches?
You do.
Yeah,
you do have torches. And now there is going to be, if there's any guess from what you had last night, this should be, from what you can tell, a little bit of the moon is waxing, so you should get a little bit of light from the moon as well.
I was going to say Titch would have a lantern.
Okay, that would work too.
Yeah, okay.
That would work too.
Granny gets out her lantern and lights it.
I'm worried about being seen, but I'm also worried about this kid being out here at night and having no help.
That's right.
So Cal says, well, we have some lanterns, I think. My friends and I, maybe we could push on through the night and find her. I imagine she'll hole up at some point, and maybe we can find her then.
And he nods and he says, oh, I'm so grateful, sir. She's a really sweet child, and, well, she's brave, but, well, she's only a child. Yes, but let's go then. And of course, Bilbo now is in the distance already, like the light is fading quickly. So You have to go
Yeah.
out after.
I mean,
Wiggleman.
Titch would have been like with his spear crossbows, kind of pushing everybody along, like walk and talk.
Yeah,
Walk and talk, walk and talk.
yeah.
This is exactly why hobbits don't adventure, because now we are going to be late for dinner.
It's true, and indeed, your stomachs are, to quote a phrase, wagging like an empty sack, as a certain hobbit once might have said.
Ew. So, how old is she?
Oh, Myrtle, sir. Well, she's only about 15, I suppose, would be the years. Maybe 18 now. I usually count her back. I mean, I'm only in my early 60s myself, sir. So he seems to suggest
Does she
about
know
18.
how to use the club?
Well,
if she has it.
She's done enough whacking of other kids when necessary, sir. I imagine she could wave it around, but, well, I've always heard tell that the club was pretty big. I'm not sure that she'd be strong enough to hold it, to be honest with you, at least not to use it in well, we can't talk about her being in a fight, sir. That's not what she is.
And what does Myrtle look like?
And he describes this curly-haired, brown-haired child with freckles, who always has this. She has kind of a small little cape, which she calls her cloak, which she's had for a long time, and that her pants and are perpetually getting, and her dresses, she refuses to wear dresses most of the time. She usually wears pants, and when she does, they usually get torn and dirty, so her parents are constantly having to figure out ways to replace her clothing, because she's always climbing up things and over things and into trees and through branches and bushes and
so it's
things
coriander.
That doesn't, I was about to say, it totally doesn't sound like coriander.
It feels like a certain version of coriander, although this one seems a little bit more interested in, a little bit less in repossessing things, let's say, and a little more in whatever adventure and travel can be found. She's 18, she could take care of herself. What are you talking about? She's barely a tween, live soon. She's a hobbit, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
She's a young bolo.
She's a young bolo. As the three of you, the four of you, I should say, well, the three of you following the fourth, Bilbo, who's making his way quickly.
The four of us following the fifth.
The two hobbit, right, because of Mort, that's right. The three hobbits and the Man of Bree following the other hobbit. There is, if we zoom the camera up a little bit, and we see the rapidly fading light, I think in the distance we can see a good long way past Bilbo. We can see perhaps the small figure of someone kind of making their way across the moors, stopping and looking up and around, and perhaps there's just the slight sound of a cry that we occasionally hear from the figure. And that is where we're going to bring our session to a close.
Mm.
This was good stuff, folks. I really enjoyed this. I cannot wait to see what happens when you... Are you going to save the child? Now it's gotten real. Now you got to save a child. I mean, so...
Yeah.
You know, a child's life is riding on this.
She's a thief. I'm going to arrest her. That's
You are... Yeah, that's right. That's right. I can't wait to see who's got freaking jurisdiction, over this part of the place.
British police force member.
Yeah, exactly. Really good stuff today. I will start at the, I guess, in reverse order. So I'll start with Tren and I'll work back around this time. Tren, good stuff today from Titch. I was enjoying the thing about the window and then coming around and being like, who's there? And being like, okay, there's nobody there. But if there was someone there. But my favorite part of it probably, thank you for the cheers so much, Dragon Spear. Thank you. My favorite part of this, though, had to be in terms of just great one-line moments is where you saw Lavender hiding behind the thing with the 20 and you're just kind of like, what's going on here? Everybody being freaked out about that really cracked me up. And of course now, Titch has got maybe a kid to save and also perhaps to render a certain version of justice onto, one way or the other. How'd you feel about the session today, and where will the fine folks find you next? Well, I know the answer to that question, but tell them anyway.
Yeah, right. Most people who've been paying attention to the schedule at all know where we're going to be next. But yeah, today was just awesome. It was a really good mix of comedy and adventure and drama, and a couple of really good one-liners, both in character and out, and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it started in the green room and it just rolled on through all the way to now, and it was just really a lot of fun. Yeah, as for where will people see me next, here tomorrow, bright and early for me ish. No, when is it? 4 p.m. my time, I think. 7. No, we got to be. Can't be starting an 8-hour thing.
I was gonna say no. We're starting. It would be 9 your time because it's noon that we start here, and then we end at 5
9 a.m. my time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, where I will be playing that other character that I play here. Mia Tanton, Taganishaw, Dick Kenneth.
Dealing with the aftermath of a. Yeah.
And don't forget, we better not be starting like back in Salvation, because there are several of us who want to go back and look at that thing.
No, you're not starting on Salvation. You're starting up, waking up in the gray,
Good. Okay, because I know John was like, no, I'm gonna be checking some stuff out. I'm like, yep, that's okay. Tanton wants to go back and look for stuff too.
That would be funny if I'm like, no, the gray is now inaccessible. You can't enter it. God damn it. No, you'll be able to.
Yeah, it's so we'll be doing that, and it will be the 8-hour marathon session, which is really just a normal D&D session for most people. Just how long you play. We play all weekend. What are you talking about? And by then I'm sure we'll be up to $17,000-$18,000 raised. No problem. Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. Thank you, Tren.
Yeah, I didn't think you were paying attention.
All right, wait a second. Sorry, you were looking at this other thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm getting distracted by 5 people asking me questions at the same time. Sorry.
That's okay. I was saying by then we will have raised $18,000.
Well, listen. Then I should nonchalantly be like, yeah, thanks. That's great. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
$1 million.
That would be great. Yeah. Absolutely.
Quick note, what I was being distracted by was I was just writing that we're going to have to do the gray stick drawing quickly as soon as we're done, because I got to get over and get the concert started in a minute. So not in a minute, but in about 12 minutes. Trent, thank you. It stuff today. I'm very excited about tomorrow. And even without Coriander, making mischief, I think you folks got into enough stuff. Although it might have been a slightly more organized path than Coriander might have taken, theoretically on their way. So, if you can do it on the break, that's even better, Emily, because that'll give me that would be great. Thank you, because that'll give me a chance to get the other things set up. If you wouldn't mind, that'd be great. Thank you, Trent. Moving right over to Tari. A lot of fun with Lavender today as well. Again, as I said, I love the sort of concealment and then the being surprised and then being like, the hell's your problem? It's kind of the look of death type of thing. And also, I have to say that I mentioned before, I really enjoyed the little kind of encounter there with this ranger, perhaps known as Strider. I really enjoyed. Of course,
who doesn't enjoy an encounter with Strider? Just saying, assuming that he looks just like one Viggo Mortensen.
Maybe. But it was a lot of fun to watch Lavender doing that, and it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what happens when. Well, you'll see, but there will be things that may need Lavender's special skills, special blend of skills. We shall see.
11 herbs and spices.
Pipeweed?
Precisely.
That's your special skill.
Listen. How'd you feel about today's session, Tari, and where will the fine folks find you next?
Oh, I had a ton of fun. Dearly missing Amal. Sad, but can't make it, so rip. I hope she will be back soon. But yeah, still had a lot of fun. Gonna keep myself short. People can find me on Tumblr and on Instagram at TariToons, where I occasionally post art things like cartoons and heraldry and stuff. And other than that, occasionally on Tuesdays here for Gamebook illustration streams.
Can't wait for that to happen again soon.
Yes. So yeah, that's me.
Good stuff, Tari. Thank you, and thank you for staying up with us as always for this. Last but certainly not least, again, Amal is not with us, is on retreat, but hopefully Amal is having a nice restful time after having her book become a New York Times bestseller, essentially, and all that,
Not essentially, but it was.
It was a bestseller, a heady time for Amal and Max. They deserve it. It's a good book. But we will have Amal back with us next month. Brad, it was also a lot of stuff. I actually felt like we got a lot of Cal in this episode in a good way. I thought a lot of Cal being able to do not only as a map maker, but as a messenger, as you pointed out. And that made it possible for him to catch up to things. Cal was doing a lot of discovery about like tracks and, finding things all the way. And also, I liked the little sort of exchange between Cal and the Ranger about like map making and, this idea of two kindred spirits in the sense that both of them also are used to exploring lonely places and have some interest in those things as well, and kind of bringing them into the world of knowledge. In your case, in Cal's place, by placing them to paper and by mapping them. So I thought that was interesting too. And so we got a good mixture of those things, I think. And now Cal's, got along with the rest of the crew, has got a child to save. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, it was in our previous adventures. It was really, really fun for me to get to meet, and interact with some of the Lord of the Rings characters. But ArvCon is one of my all-time favorites and stuff. So it's really cool having this brush up, with him, and especially as a messenger. Is not the same kind of character or anything like that, but they have some things in common. So it was pretty cool to bond over that stuff, kind of like Bolo bonded with Bilbo, and some of the fellowship phase, things that we did and stuff.
Yep.
So that was really fun. And then when we got to the house and got inside and stuff, I was thinking, okay, here we go. We're gonna have a little dungeon crawl through this house and stuff, maybe through the cellar or whatever. And it was like the fastest dungeon crawl that I've been on in like ages, right? Because that wasn't the focus, and that was fine. I'm glad that that we didn't have to spend a lot of time and search every room, only to find that it just didn't matter, right? We just move on because this is about story.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about writing and gaming, and what some parallels between the two, and I'll just call this out a little bit. Like when you're writing, the stuff that you spend time on lends it importance, right? And the less time you spend on something, the less important it is. And this was an exact parallel of what we had here. It just wasn't important. What was important, that the club was gone and that someone took it, and then we had to catch up with them, and we had to identify who they were and what they were about and stuff. So it was kind of cool to to go through that, like gaming wise, but also kind of story wise, at the same time.
Yeah, it's a fine line, I should say, between that and railroading, and I never want to just push people and be like, okay, nope, sorry, but like, right. The sense of what
you're a facilitator.
What's significant to you folks, and it seemed like what was significant was finding the club wasn't there, probably.
Facilitators? What's taters? Sorry.
What's facilitators, precious? What's facilitators? Oh man.
Whenever Trey makes a joke from now on, I'm gonna do, but I'm Titch.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Take an apple bow. Hey, I got him. Let's go.
Oh, and
we're here all
scene.
Well, not really.
Better finish up, Brad, and get me out of here quick.
All right. Yeah. So, you can find me at quillings.com. I don't have a lot of news. I'll be back here gaming at some point. But I do have a new book coming out in December, and there's some more news kind of popping soon about that. So I'll share more as we move along.
Awesome. And of course, you're going to see Brad joining myself at the Gen Con Writers Symposium in a couple months, which is always a fun thing for everybody. So you should stop by and check us out if you can do that as well. Players, I'm going to let you folks go so I can go get ready for the concert, but I will say that we raised today during this. Do the mods have a figure? Do we raise... I think we raised, was it almost 500? What did we raise today during this section? Can the mods tell me roughly what we raised? Anybody? Or anybody who was here the whole time, I suppose.
Money!
I know we raised money. I was just curious. If there was if we had a total. Anyone? Roughly? Anybody? Maybe.
Not everybody at once?
Yeah, seriously. It's just like, I've frozen. Moolah. Yes, that's what it was. I want to say that it was going into this, I think it was like it probably was about $450, almost $500, I think is what it was. So it was $31.71 when the game started. Oh, okay, so then we raised $300 basically for this. Nice. Good stuff. Awesome stuff. Very good. Awesome. And we ended at this session at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it was worth it for that too. Thank you to my wonderful players. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing Shire Adventures crew? And we will have them back here next month, except for Tren, who'll be back here tomorrow. So thank you to Brad Bollier. Thank you to Tari Tunes. And thank you to Trent Sparks. See you folks soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for that. And thank you again to Free League for sponsoring us as well. Now, moving right along, I really had fun with that session. That was a good time. And now I need to get moving and get ready for this concert, which is coming up next. And probably programming note to Kilgore, it's probably going to be about 6-7 minutes. We're going to go a little bit past 7:15 before I'm starting because I gotta set it up now. So I'm going to do that now. And this is the concert portion of the evening. It's going to feature Kilgore Trout and then Zach Clay, and then it's going to feature Indy. Jordan Gonzalez is going to be wrapping up the festivities later this evening with the concert. And then after them, of course, we have the finishing amazing, awesome, climactic session of Dragon of Icespire Peak with the Shadow Crew, and that's going to be happening tonight. So it's going to be good times. I am excited for that. But now I am going to get on out of here for just a few minutes while we set up for the concert. Don't forget, we're here to donate, and we have done so very wonderfully so far. Thank you to everyone who's been so generously being a part of this. $3,456.78 is the total. Let's continue to move that forward so we can get past our goal. I'd love to see us get past the halfway goal before we get well into the concert. And can we hit 4,000 by the time we get to the end of the night and past it? I think we can. I believe that we can. So let's do that. But please stick with me, and I'll be back with you folks in just a few minutes as we move into the musical portion of the evening. Hang tight.